Hey guys, and he was kind of beating all around the bush, and he said the reason was because really the person he has back home is his fin dom, and that she's finding. And I was like, what? That's a thing?
But there's applying it, and then there's the actual action of communication.
Right.
Like when you discipline a child, you tell
Keep going. And then when we do it, you gotta say, "Scissor me, daddy," like that. All right.
No, you know.
This is
Different.
not the fucking thing to do. Like,
They think that's normal.
I got you, like, buddy. I can't help her.
Minutes later, I see a pizza slide under my door. No contact. Like, I'm good.
You see the pizza slide under the door with the hands, and your fucking hand slam down on top of it and grab it.
We have an initial physical type of what we like to see initially, because our eye is always drawn to something. I can see a tall guy, big and broad shoulders, and I'm like, ooh, nice. But if he talks to me, and I'm be like, maybe not.
Okay, so Mike, until we get the rest of the guys in, do you want to start with your first question for us ladies? First of all, are you drinking a Capri Sun?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
First things first, what is happening?
First things first, what is happening? All right, anyway. All right, what's going on? Welcome to the We Got Questions. I am your co-host, Mike, Mr. Hennessy, whichever one you choose to call me. And I am joined. But look, you got to pick your choices. You can't just have it all.
I was like, did Mike forget his name?
I forgot all of it.
Yeah.
And you are.
I'm basic.
Yeah, you're not basic. You're pretty not basic. You get around her, you realize, oh, she's not basic. Oh, she's not basic. She's chill.
I'm back, guys. You can see my
Yes, and y'all can see her face, sicky last week.
Mike E and J.
Oh shit! I didn't realize. What's up, Mel? I ain't see you. I ain't heard from this little one in a minute. How are you, Mel? What's going on with you? Yes, it is me. It is I, the E and J. I don't even like it, yo. Like, let's not even call myself that anymore.
Mike, what do you like? Well,
Drink wise?
Yeah.
Other than got into the wine game, obviously. So, you know what I like. So y'all know that I like the what is it called?
Well, the Stella?
Stella Rose Black. There we go.
I feel like that doesn't.
I like that.
To me, Stella's
Man,
like
don't count.
Stella's punch.
Drink enough of it, it'll get the party started.
You have to drink the whole bottle.
I mean, for you.
No.
For you. Thanks, Mel. She missed your face, you know.
I have been very MIA. Life has been, doing its thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to stop this slump because thank you, Madison. I appreciate
Maddie.
I don't know if y'all can see it,
What's
but
up,
over
Maddie?
there on that nightstand is my breathing treatment.
That shit over there like a Darth Vader mask in the corner and shit.
My daughter walks in, she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I gotta be able to talk and breathe." But yeah, I've been in a slump. I'm trying to actively do things to pull myself out of said slump. It's been like for a couple months, honestly, not just like, I mean, you guys don't see it here, but like for a while. But I realized there's an issue because I'm not in the Christmas spirit and I love Christmas. And
you got like your room up like a Christmas tree now.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put a tree in my room. Like I had a talk with myself the other day and I was like, you gotta do something to pull yourself out of the slump. Mm-hmm. It's been like family stuff, personal stuff, and I think it's just always just wearing down on me. And when I was like, I'm not even in the Christmas spirit, this sucks. I gotta do something about it. So I'm actively trying. It's kind of hard because I kind of just want to like just sit and chill. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Everybody notices that Basic is back, huh? You ain't say shit to Mike.
I'm trying, Mel. I'm trying. I tell you, the last 5 months have been rough. on, you know, on the person, like, I, you know, nothing like, it's not even surface level stuff. It's like very, you know, personal things that people just don't, you know, I don't like talk about all the time, but it's been rough for me mentally. So I've just been trying to like I've been trying to focus on the things that make me happy. And sometimes that also deals with a little bit of like pulling away too. Because I sometimes feel like overstimulation can make me feel like overwhelmed. And so I think that's kind of been part of my psyche. But then I thought, I can't keep doing this. Let's see. And sometimes, yeah, listen, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps thing, people be like, well, Raquel, you got to do this and you got to, like, that's easier said than done. I just don't feel like it. Like, I don't feel like it. I've got real life decisions that I've got to make over here and real life stuff happening. And sometimes that whole, like, just, you know, be cheerful is not like it's not a realistic thing, you know? But I would like for these last couple months, I would like to enjoy, I'm hoping that I can enjoy my holiday.
Oh, I like that idea.
What do I do to cope? So let me tell you, Milan, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if my way of coping is necessarily the best. Thank you, Madison. I appreciate these things because I feel like people always tell me, hey, toys. I feel like people always tell me what I should do, but what I should do doesn't always feel the best. Like, I know everyone's been like, why have you been so MIA?
What's
like,
up, y'all?
TikTok and on socials, but those things really don't make me feel good. Sometimes they make me feel more anxious, because my mind is on the personal stuff and I'm not really focused on the fun. And so it just makes me feel so overwhelmed to try to like pretend like I'm in a good space when I'm not in a good space. I have been lucky to have like a couple of really good things kind of like be there to kind of lift my spirits throughout this time. But sometimes for me, just taking a step back and reevaluating and refocusing really helps. A lot of people say that, you know, you shouldn't do that. You should like surround yourself with like things that I guess that they think make me happy, but really those are just like fillers because they don't really help me to solve the problem. You know what I mean? And if I'm being completely honest, the issues that I'm dealing with are not solvable issues. They're just things that are happening in life that I can't fix. And I can't put a Band-Aid on. I'm just trying to help cope with what's happening and help the process. And it's a lot of responsibility on me. And that's been tough. So, you know, right. And I just want to like, sometimes I just want to feel and sit in it. And sometimes it just feels super heavy because there's a lot of responsibility on me. And, you know, I've just been trying to deal with it the best way that I can. So, but I'm working on it. I'm trying to find a balance.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy this Christmas, if not for, you know, I think it's also important because my daughter, like, I don't want her to feel like, oh, Christmas wasn't the same because mom was in a slump, you know. Right. Dealing with things that you can't fix. Hey, Bundles. Dealing with things that you can't fix that are out of your control is the toughest. Like, and it's also
what's up, Bundles?
When it involves people that you like, you care about, but they also depend on you to help. You know, they want you to help, but you also know there's only so much that you can do. So, you know, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of like me feeling sort of, you know, helpless because I can't help them in the way that I can't fix it. I can't fix things for them in this situation. But I know that I'm being relied upon. And I think the stress of that has just been a lot. So I've been trying to figure out how to moderate my mood. I don't want to be, you know, anywhere and like not being myself. So, but you know, I'm working on it. I'll say this. I'm working on it. I'm hoping that I can feel better soon. And, you know, that's all I can do. I'm just trying.
I love that. Listen, I hope that you know, I gave you the space to be able to say all that stuff. I didn't want to say a damn thing. Not interrupt that at all, because obviously I know, but you know.
Yeah.
Everybody else don't know.
Yeah.
So
right.
we're always dealing with some fun stuff in our lives. So happy to have you back with it.
Communicating. Oh, I'm sorry. I think we did it.
Oh, go ahead.
Communicating how much energy you have is healthy, but you have to be with people that create is true. And I think that was part of like my I think that was part of kind of like where I was trying to focus. I was really trying to put myself in spaces that I felt really positive. And that also didn't feel overwhelming. Like it was a balance of trying to, be with people who made me feel positive, but also it didn't feel overwhelming to me at the same time. Because sometimes I can get overstimulated and that can feel like I can't catch my breath. When you have so much going on and you're trying to like be a certain like thing, it can just be a lot to deal with. Positive is different than safe. That's true. But I've been lucky to have people in my life lately who have been that for me. So,
And that's the good part. And
Yeah.
that's like, before we get into our topics and everything, because I feel like this is definitely speaking into love language and stuff like that, of which we'll be talking about later. The whole topic is basically about love languages, but once you get closer to this time, depending on everybody's, like you said, depending on life circumstances and who you have in your circles and stuff, excuse me, how do you on? I think at this point is when I realized the most I'm really a grown fucking person. And what I mean by that is all the being around a family a certain way, spending time with family a certain way, especially if it's like Thanksgivings and all that, even though men, I I don't really celebrate it like I used to when I was a kid because I didn't know any better. But the stuff I know about it is one of the biggest reasons why I don't fully celebrate it. But this time really either can show you two things now, and it's like I gotta do everything for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like if you don't have a family, you don't have a certain structure level of something. Moms and stuff don't do it no more, and grandparents is probably gone or not doing it anymore, like, and then it could be just you and your kid, you and your significant others, like,
Yeah.
and if you don't have none of that stuff at the moment or whatever, the shit can get lonely. You know what I mean? Where you start seeing all these commercials with people with family and stuff, and I know it's that pressure of wanting to go out and buy gifts and do this. Is not, I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's just more or less the camaraderie that you get out of your family and friends and the
Yeah.
love that you get from them that you don't see anymore. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, we've grown into our own where it's like, oh well, we do our own thing, and this is. But there are some people in this world that exist that want some type of love in some type of way,
True.
like, and to
Yeah.
be around people that they
Mhm.
care about. So
Yeah.
I'm happy that you at least have something, like,
Yeah. But I also think it's also been a matter of me picking and choosing where I place my energy. I think sometimes, like I think I've said it here before, sometimes I tend to be a people pleaser, and I've been actively working to focus on what makes me feel better as opposed to what makes other people feel better, and picking
yeah,
and choosing the things that I can put energy into and fight, with and all that stuff. And I think it has made me make choices that I probably wouldn't normally choose, like choosing to walk away from things that I normally would not walk away from.
yeah,
Because I'd probably be like, no, I gotta make this, I gotta fix this. But I've been at a place where I've been like, I
hmm
like I can't, like I can't put my energy here right now. And so if this means that I have to let this separate and like then I have to, because I'm really trying to focus on like my mental health. You know what I mean? I'm really trying to focus on putting myself back in a good space. And so I've
yeah.
kind of like been picking and choosing the battles that I'm willing to like battle it out and duke it out for.
hmm
So, that's been that.
Fun time. All right. All right. So, do you want to anything else you want to throw in there? I should say, like, any other
No,
words? Anything you want to tell the good people that are
no,
watching this? All
I'm
right.
glad
So,
you're back. This should be
mhm.
fun. You guys, we're gonna, last week I'm sure was weird with me being off and sick. That last, like the tail end of the show when y'all were like, she's probably asleep. I had full on laid down in bed. Like I had fully just like, because my energy was like
You just
done,
said
like
fuck it.
depleted. I was like, I'm just gonna like, I'll interject in a minute, but I really need to lay down. I'll put a couple like, yeah, sounds good. Like that last little, that last little bit of the show was like, I'm struggling to stay alive here.
And it's okay. we run into those struggles sometimes, and
Yeah.
you did good.
And now
But,
my kids, so
mhm. So, I have our topic for the day. Our topic for the day is
Mhm.
it's kind of like we're bringing it back. We talked about this when we were on AMP before, but I
Mhm.
don't know if we went as deep into it as we did. We did, I guess, to talk about the signs and stuff like that that goes along with it.
Yeah.
Oh, if I can remember, that might have been an episode I might have been talking about whips and shit. But anyway, it might have been. I don't know, but we're talking about love languages
No.
as a deeper dive. We
Yeah.
both prepared questions.
We got questions.
Yeah, questions. You got questions, big time. So, I don't have the basic questions up here.
It's okay, I've got them. I was just gonna say before we start, like, so we all know what the basic love, like, we all know what our basic the 5 level tier of what people say love languages are. Physical touch, words of affirmation, gifts, all those good things. But I also think that, like, I think that it's not that cut and paste all the time, and that it can be a variation of those things to some degree. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always so cut and paste. But I do think, of course, for the sake of all relationships, it's important to know. Oh, hey, Marcus. Marcus said we're in his. It's important
What do you
to
say?
know. Marcus was just saying that we're in his wheelhouse right now. It's important to know how you want to, like, how you experience love and how you receive love, and how that can be translated to you, but also when you're in a relationship,
Oh, you know what to do, Mark. Just let me know. I'll send it to you.
how to translate that towards your partner. So it might not be like as it can. Just don't think that we don't have to think within the confines of just those 5. Like, you may have something that's a variation of it, or it completely deviates from that list. It could be like something completely different, but it's just how you like to see and receive love and get love from people. Now get on.
Meow. Hey, y'all, look, if y'all want beef for Barkers up here, we're gonna start a chant right now, and we're gonna post up we're putting up the Batman beacon right now. Beef for Barkers, go ahead, you bring your ass up here. That is the Batman beacon of hope that we all get you on here at some point.
I feel like I'm eating M&Ms, so now people can, like, leave you alone. You're not actually eating anything today. I'll eat in your stead.
Oh shit, that's right. I ain't eat nothing.
Right.
Got some water.
Usually
Ain't
you
good
be
enough.
chomping on something, a salad, some
Already,
wings.
food was already made earlier. Shit was good. It's gone. We have moved on.
Yeah.
I gotta send this out to B for Barkass real quick. But
You want me to start? Am I starting?
Sure.
Are you sure? Okay.
They coming. Okay.
So my first thing is,
I gotta send the thing out.
I'm gonna ask you the question. I'm gonna ask you this question because I already have my answer. And the reason why I'm asking you this is because I know my answer to it.
Okay.
Like, did a light just go out? You look darker. Okay, there you go.
No. I'm trying to send it off. Go ahead.
Gotcha.
I'm here.
Have there been any ways, like, love languages for you that you discovered, like, were more important to you, like, in this latter half of your life, that you didn't realize that you even cared about before?
I would say, yeah, it's more or less it's just how I define words of affirmation now is a little different. But it was mainly it's that because of me needing so much mental stimulation, and it's like there's things that I'm learning about myself that I have to do too. That I have to be more. I'm already compassionate, but I have to be more, be a certain way with myself to be able to give something out like that, some more affirmations of life and speak more positivity into the situations, not look at everything as if it's always my fault, or it's I got you, Mark. Or it's always like something that I'm not receiving, but what I can put into a person.
Mm.
Listening more, um, being more self-aware, so I can be able to spread the words that I'm saying out my mouth better. Like, and more thoughtful and more careful and all
Yeah.
that. Um,
I mean, that's a good revelation to have, like to realize that maybe not necessarily, I don't think you're saying that you need to work on it, but that you just want to be more conscious of it.
I just want to be more conscious of the things that I'm putting into people and what
Mm.
I'm saying, and then, like I said, as far as conversations and diving deeper into stuff like that, and how I speak to a person. Some people might want me to talk, a certain way towards them, as opposed to, you know, giving them just the basic stuff. Like, I don't necessarily just think that people are beautiful just on a normal scale. Like, how do I give you something that's even more beyond than what you are? Like, speaking more, yo, this is what makes you a beautiful person in life,
Yeah.
like, and the things that you're doing. Like,
Have you recognized that it's important because it's important to you? Like, do you think that it's important for people to do the same for you? Do you appreciate when people
okay.
articulate those same things to you, like back in return? Like, is that an important thing for you?
It is. I think it's more or less how I'm recognizing it now. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, the way that I'm listening to someone and what I'm receiving is a
Yeah.
thing too. What I'm giving is one thing, and then what I'm receiving is one thing.
Yeah.
So, like, even though my number one in my mind, I feel as though used to really be strongly physical touch. I don't know if it's physical touch or I just like quality time,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that calms my soul. That gives me a little bit more of something that I
Yeah.
can show you. And it's almost like, if it feels like it's being not violated, but it feel like it's being either too much, or um it's getting taken away from me. I notice that leads to my biggest anxieties,
Yeah.
and like act, I tend to get a little flustered, like very flustered, almost like I want to run away from it.
Okay. No, I hear you and I understand you. And here's why. And this is why I asked this question. If you would have asked me any other time what my love language is, I would have always said it is. Listen,
What?
I was trying to be Marcus he ruins it for me, because every time I'm trying to be serious, here he comes.
Genital
Here they come.
jamborees.
Here they come with,
That's
I
cool.
like gentle jamborees. Wow.
He said genital.
No, that's right. Gentle
Oh
jamboree.
my god. What the fuck? Look at the comments. A Marcus.
Marcus kills me. They always kill me with something. Like, it never, and then it's the timing, Marcus. Like, I'm not sure if you just like waiting for me to say something and then come up with that. Hold on, let me. Okay, what I was trying to say was,
Okay.
I would have always said that physical touch was my
Number one.
number one.
Hmm.
I have lately realized I still love physical touch. Like, it's such a, to me, it's an amazing way to show affection to me. Like, if I can go, I can get so much off just like the tiniest touches. However, when it comes down to real value, I'm gonna say it's probably a form of words of affirmation, but I do like, I have recognized about myself, and this might be seen as a weakness, but it's a thing that I have recognized about myself, that reassurance sometimes is very important to me. I think it has a lot to do with my own like personal, like, I don't know if you'd call it traumas, but just like the way I have viewed past relationships. I think I sometimes struggle with like, the anxiousness of what I expect out of a relationship because of past relationships, right? And so sometimes I just need to hear you say the words. You know what I mean? I just need to hear you say how you feel. I need, like, it's important for me to like hear the confirmation. I'm not like, please tell me all the time, but it's important. Like, it matters to me. And I think I have noticed that sometimes, oh, well, hello. I have noticed that sometimes when I don't get that, I'm craving it. Like, I need it. I need to hear you say how you feel. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay.
As a level of reassurance. So I would say that those two are pretty much, I almost would say that words of affirmation might be more important to me at this point than physical touch. Physical touch is like just like the cherry on it, like on top.
Okay.
But it comes down to like really what matters. I think sometimes that stuff, like just hearing it matters a lot to me.
Okay.
And not just surface level, like I love you or you're beautiful, but just like talking about things. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Communication.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm all about that. What's up, Mark? How are you?
I'm all right.
So you're the way that you feel physical touch is different, basically. Like a lot of people feel like, hey, if I touch you, if I put my hands on you, then that's good enough. Like I've always expanded upon physical touch a lot different. My God, Greg, what's going on, baby? How are you, brother?
I think like little tiny touches mean a lot.
But what I mean is like, I'm not gonna say it's the same thing for you, but like for me, that the thought of you being physically around me is good enough for me. The thought of
what Manson just said. Black women deal with a lot of imposter syndrome. It makes sense that you need your experience to be validated. You're not crazy or alone. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And
by the way, Madison, you got that link. I just sent it to you.
Oh no.
Oh no! Oh
no!
All right. Would you like to?
All right. So, what exactly are y'all talking about? I actually stepped away for a bit, so I missed some stuff before I jumped into the studio. I imagine y'all just on the basics of the 5 love languages.
We were just the question was we were asking, was there anything that we had noticed
that has changed for us
life from like the 5 love languages, and not even just that, but like what we thought our love language was before. Has there anything that has changed like over time that we've realized was important to us?
A lot has changed. And a lot of people don't even follow or ascribe to the 5 love languages anymore. Because one, that was written by a Baptist minister, Gary Chapman, and his focus was entirely on heterosexual marriage and nothing outside of that. So the language, the framing, even the choices in love languages tend to be non-inclusive. It's not inclusive of gender or sexual queerness or fluidity. It's not inclusive of non-monogamous relationships. It's not inclusive of anything that's outside of romantic relationships. Like, for an example, when we talk about things like physical touch as a love language, why is physical touch always conflated with sexual touch?
It was supposed to be.
There's touch that exists. There's touch that exists outside of that. Why do we always have to conflate it to sexual touch? So it has been expanded upon more recently in like 2020, 2021. There is currently, as far as like what's in publication, 18 different love languages. And it's not an end all. It does go into a lot of nuance, and it's inclusive in its framing of all relationship types, genders, and sexuality, and relationship structures. It's very inclusive of that. Yeah, the 5 languages is almost like trying to break up love into just 5 cookie cutter explanations or types. And what a lot of people do with that information is there's a lot of missing nuance. We don't often talk about the overlap that exists, because it's not just one. For the most part, everybody enjoys all 5 of those love
True.
languages in some regard. What's often missing in conversation is the distinction between receiving and giving in those
True.
love languages.
True.
And another thing that's often forgotten is I'm losing my train of thought here. I'm gonna pick it back up. I'm sorry.
You are good.
Yeah, no, it's just the overlap, and just that, okay, our expression and reception is not anchored to us indefinitely, and it is not anchored specifically to the relationship structure that we want to apply it to. So for somebody like myself who has multiple partners, multiple loves, and a lot of platonic
Right.
relationships, the
The
way that I
relationship,
express love
so
is
different.
an expression of the relationship itself to the person that I'm expressing it to.
Right.
So I don't always receive specific things from everybody. I don't always give to everybody. It is dependent on the relationship that I have with that
Right.
person.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a variation of one of my questions that I was going to say, like, with every relationship and with any person that you deal with, whether it be multiple relationships or just a different relationship, those things can change and vary in how you have to express love with, whether it be your partner or whatever, you know what I mean? Those things will change. Like, it's not cookie cutter. So it's not like I do it like this for everyone because it's just how I express love. I think the question was more so like recognizing like that the way that you choose to express love may not fit the partner that you're with.
yes, that is true.
Mm-hmm. But this is what makes it more interesting, because I actually want to know something. Do you feel like your love language is basically changing so often? Is it more or less personal for you, or do you change it based off of what partner you have in your life too?
For me personally,
you
don't have to follow my train of thought with this.
You're good, bro.
I don't really treat the love languages too seriously. I do it as far as I do, say, like horoscope. in that it's not a framework to which I like adhere to strictly and base in my relationships and how I connect to people. It's a decent frame of reference, something to work with, something to bounce off. And even with the author of the more nuanced compiled list, what is her name? I want to shout her out. Ann Hopper Ship. And even in doing that, it can be expanded upon, because love is such an expansive idea and feeling, and it's such a nuanced thing. So if you feel that there's something else that is like an expression of love for you, or something that really connects, it's like, write it down and express what that is, because chances are it's very valid. And this list, though, just at 18 right now, can easily go up to 100 or 1,000 and stuff like that. Like, keep it going, expand upon it.
I think that I think, and we kind of touched on this earlier. We mentioned that your love languages does not just exist within the confines of those 5 things. Like, there's so many ways that a person can want to experience love and show love. But I think it's just like, in saying that, like, for every person it may be different, I think we also have to recognize that one I think we know how we show love, and we're always like, well, this I am showing. I'm showing you that I love. This is how I show you that I love you. But being able to respect that might not be how that person wants to be shown love, right? They might not want how you show it, and they might need something different. And then what that means for you, like, is it okay for you personally that the way that you show love is not how the other person receives love, and they don't want it that way. I had a friend tell me that her husband shows her love by doing certain things, and it annoys her. Like, that's not her love. Like, that's not her. She knows that he's trying to show her that he appreciates her, because those are the things that are important to him, and so he's trying to show it in the way that he thinks is important. But she can't stand it sometimes. Like, it's just not how she wants it. And I think they had to have a talk about it, because I think he felt like she was rejecting his love. You know what I mean? Because he was trying to give it to her in the way that he knew how, and that's how he expresses love. I know that for a fact, for me, in some relationships, I have struggled with the same thing. Like, I know how I show love to people, but to have someone say that's not what I need right now, for a moment, kind of like made me take a step back, because one, I think you have to get out of your ego, because you're just like, well, what do you mean that's not what you want right now? Like, I'm trying to tell you that I'm telling you that I love you. Like, I'm doing all of these things to tell you that I love you. What do you mean that's not what you need right now? Like, this is me showing you that I love you. And then having to like really take a step back and think about it over again and be like, well, if this is not what they need, then I have to decide, is what I'm doing more important, or what they actually need more important to me? Like, what is the more important thing to me in this moment? Giving them what they need and trying to figure out how to alter, how I'm handling this situation to really give them what they're asking for? Or do I focus on the fact that they're rejecting the way that I'm showing them love? Because I really am genuinely trying to show them love. It's just not how they want it or how they need it at the time.
And even in that moment, an act of empathy is an expression of a love language. So it's just, in that moment, if this isn't what they want or what they need, how can I help you? How can I support you? How can I be there for you? An act of empathy is a love language. And so I think at the core of this is something I always come back to, is that we need a simple yet concrete definition of what love is, because upon that foundation, so much falls into place. I use the definition, I learned it from Bell Hooks, who got it from Dr. M. Scott Peck, and that is the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's inner spiritual growth. And for it to be, it takes love and it demystifies it and makes it an action. In making something a verb, making it an action makes it an act of intention. So it is something that is a choice, and that's something that I'm deciding to do whenever I choose to do it. It's not left up to be this smoke and haze and this feeling that people are supposed to subjectively interpret whenever they feel, because you're going to find a lot of incongruence among every other person. So in seeing things that way, I can say something as simple as, what love language is me making you a sandwich? And I would argue
It's not acts of services.
That's one. Anything else?
Gift giving.
Two. Anything else?
Acts of service, gift giving.
Time
Within
spent.
those
It's quality time.
Like
Yeah.
so that when your framing of love is
I'm tired of you.
this simple concrete definition, you will find that so many things that people do are expressions of love. And a lot of the incongruence comes from people's personal definitions, or these mystified definitions, creating these inconsistencies where they don't recognize things as love.
Thank you for joining
There's
me.
a lot of people that may not recognize something as small as making a sandwich as being an act of love, but I guarantee you it is. And if you see something as small as making a sandwich, then you're going to see so many other actions that people do being an expression of love. When I talk to people about the relationships that I have with people, I always say that though I maintain the cup that I have, and I keep it full, everyone is pouring into me from all over the place. I could not be more satiated
Mhm.
in my relationships. My life is amazing if we're just looking at the relationships that I have with people. And that is because I see love in so many different ways that I don't think a lot of people do.
Mm.
I love that, man.
Welcome to
I
my
really
TED
do.
Talk.
Hey, listen, I love what both of y'all were talking about. I was really silent through it because one thing I think for me is like I love the fact that I get to listen to this perspective that y'all have on it, and I like that Marcus thinks in that way as far as like how love languages are. You tap into so many ones at the same time. Everybody just thinks if I do this for you, oh, that's just the act of service. It's like no, I did more than that. Like, but we don't know to expand upon that because we only know how to sit in one. You pick your one. A lot of people do this thing. They pick their one love language, and then they feel like they're doing that one thing in this moment. So if I put my hands on you, not in that way, in a good way, but if I put my hands on you, I have now just did physical touch. But they don't know that if you're sitting next to me, that's still a sign of physical touch too. That's still, but you also mixing that in with the quality time that you have with the person too,
Mhm.
because I'm physically next to you. You know what I mean? Physically next to you, on top of having quality time with you. The hell just that? All right, cool. She back. Oh,
Yeah, and
I
there's
don't know.
people like myself who like I'm neurodiverse, and a lot of my partners are as well. I have time set aside
It is.
for one of my partners tomorrow, and one thing that we really enjoy doing is body doubling. That is, you know, our time will be spent together physically around each other, but we may not engage that much. And a lot of people may not see that as as an expression of love, especially for people that are neurotypical. It's just something that people like largely don't understand. But for us, it's
Ooh,
an amazing thing. It's something
look at
that
this! Look
we
at
both
this!
enjoy to do.
Ah.
This nigga. Hey boo, what's up? You cute. Hold up.
Oh,
Ooh.
change your microphone settings.
Yeah.
It's on the side, 3 dots. The 3 dots, and click that, and then you be able to edit those microphones. Welcome, though, Madison. Welcome. She like that.
It's about to sound like Megatron. We gotta get that mic right. Get that mic right. Where is the artifact? Oh, snap. Sam Witwicky. Oh. Oh.
What's so bad about this right now that they're not making it any better. They're not making it any better.
Sam Witwicky.
They're not making the situation any better. By
like Starscream. When Optimus got his ass whooped, he's
You sound like Megatron. Man, that shit be crazy.
Oh, my boo. You're gonna get it.
It's gonna be all right. No, make it happen, Madison. It's just it's him. You know, it's they right there. Boink. I don't know if
it's they.
It's them. It's them. Here we go. That's the proper way of saying it. Them, right? It don't matter. I don't know. So I love Optimus Prime. Why, yo? And look, basically popping in and out. Like,
no, I'm here. I don't know what's happening.
So come out the whole live and then come back in. It's probably a connection thing.
Okay, hold on.
BRB.
Maddie.
Yes, ma'am. Maddie is kind of sounding like a kidnapper. Hey, yo. What's going on, Joy? I'm sorry I was laughing so fucking hard. That shit was hilarious, man. Oh, man.
Is that done?
There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Oh, Lord. That got me scared to talk.
No. It's the settings. Sometimes the settings, are you using your computer?
Mm-hmm.
There's a different line in your computer that has nothing to do with this overall. So it had you sounding crazy.
No worries. Thanks for your patience. Sorry. I didn't mean to
no problem
interrupt.
at
I
all.
was in the middle of stuff.
I love it. I love it. So
But I was listening though.
before we continue on, do you want to get your lick back about you being 45 minutes late to your first date? Last week.
Damn. Yeah, so we had a conversation about that.
Oh, Mike, that was not right. I did talk to Marcus after that. What do you want me to say?
Do you want to get your lick back? Yeah, I mean, look, he right there. You can just punch it real quick. Pow, just hit
Always
it.
on
I don't
time.
need
so-
to.
I'm
It's
messing.
it's the
I'm
truth.
messing.
I'm
I'm just
late.
making around.
I'm
I'm
like,
just
She's like, it
I don't
happened.
think it was 45 minutes. It was like 20 minutes. But I was just upstairs, so I get the concept
You
of like, why
know
was I
he is
still late?
calculated, so he probably really remembers that.
Actually,
So
I didn't know they were calculated at that time. It was our first date, so I didn't know they was
Uh-huh.
like so on time. And you know, I'm not really on
Uh-huh.
time. So
And
I
he
just
gets
showed
smart
up at
right
the
at
time
you.
that we
But
agreed
look.
to. That was it. I fulfilled my obligation.
But to wrap it all back in though, like the whole love language thing, like I don't show love by being on time. Some people
Ooh.
feel like
Hey, so
that's
what is
loving.
that? Her acts of service is just.
Well, it's
Nah,
I don't
listen.
show love that way, but there are people that take it really personally when you don't show up on time and they feel not loved and they feel like their time is wasted. So it's like I communicated early, like this is not my thing. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means that like I'm neurodivergent, I lose my
Really?
keys, I gotta handle my dog, like I got other shit. Don't take it personal. But after this, like we've been doing it for 3 years.
I don't
So-
hold people's punctuality against them. It's
So a lot of
that's
people
just-
do though.
Yeah, that's
So,
where
Maddie, can I put the face up because
Oh my
you
god.
gotta get it. It's the stamp of approval. It's the B for Barker's face.
Go ahead.
If you was late, you know this. was
But
you
what
gonna
does it
get.
say about me that I still got him though?
Ooh.
Does that give me any kind of
What?
like what? No. All right.
It says amazing things about it. It says amazing things. What giggle was that? Hey yo, all right. So if you would like to I mean we do have so many other questions, but you want to elaborate on what we were talking about? You have the question basic?
We were just I think we've really kind of branched off from it though a lot from the original question, which was the original question that we were talking about was noticing something later in life, but I think we've kind of like branched off from that to just talking about the different ways that people can and how it varies from relationship to relationship, how a person chooses to receive love and how you show love can vary within different relationships. It also can change for you for what you actually need from different partners. I think what you expect from each partner and what you need from each partner might be different based off of what they're already giving you. You know what I mean? Or just based off of the relationship in general. Like it just varies. There's no like cookie cutter way to show love to each person. You're like this, but also in respect, like I was talking about the fact that I've struggled with, I know sometimes I show show love in a very specific way. And I've had a person say, I don't need that right now. Like, that's not what I want. And me having to like take a step back to say, is this a time where I feel offended because they don't want my love? Or is it, I really need to like evaluate, okay, maybe I need to step back because if this relationship is important to me, this is not how they want me to show them how I feel about them. They need it in a different way. And so maybe I need to pull back on this because it's not just because the way I'm used to normally like showing love or how it's instinctually comes out for me might not be what this person needs at this time. They might need something totally different from me.
Yep, you need to remove yourself from the center. That reaction is when you're centered in your own
Right.
expression.
Yeah.
That feeling.
Yeah.
So when it happens, I feel like when it happens, you know how you literally it hits you like a wall. So it's like
Yeah.
you just sit there and it's like, so what do I do? Because all you knew how to do was go give it to them, and then now you're stopped. Especially when they told you, "Oh, I don't want this right now," and it's like, "Well, shit, I was kind of used to just giving this to you.
Yeah.
What do I do?" So now it's at that stage of trying to figure that part out. I feel like,
I think
how
for a
do I
lot of
step away
people, they're not seeing what's being expressed at face value.
Yeah,
and they're
exactly.
thinking far beyond that and what those things may be implying. Now, I mean, for me, I don't really sit well with passive communication. So if people have that reaction, I could imagine that it's based off of them being conditioned to passive communication. where they are then questioning, like, oh, does that mean that they even like me in this moment and all this other stuff? It's like no, what they just expressed, like, hey, this isn't what I want at the time. Like, if to draw an analogy, let's say I made you the sandwich. And I brought you the sandwich, and you're like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm not really hungry right now. Would you then go and say, like, oh my God, do they not love me? Like, no, you would process that as, okay, they don't want a sandwich. Is there anything that I can do for you? Like, what else might you want? If, like, whatever that thing is, like, hey, like it is what it is. I can either fulfill that or what may be, but you're not going to take it and go beyond and then question the validity of your relationship and stuff. So it's like, why, if you're not going to do it there, why are you doing it here?
Mm.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Madison, you got anything?
I just think it's all about the listening in it. Like, I probably have like a praise kink. I like praise. I like to do things where it's appreciated. So, and I might go above and beyond in doing that. So if I put a lot of effort into something, I want to know that I got an A. You know what I mean? So like if I'm doing it for my partner, I want to get an A. And if I'm showing them love in a way that they don't want or like they don't like gift giving and I go spend all this money, like I don't want to do that. I want it to match. I want to get, because they could just want acts of service and it could be much easier for me. So it's less about me and more about like what they want and how that aligns with what's natural for me to do.
How do you feel about it in the context of what if you recognize that what the person is asking for and what they're willing to give completely contradicts what's important to you and what you need? You know what I mean? Like, in a sense where...
An example?
That's a good question.
In the sense where...
I'm gonna start this question.
Here's an example. Like, so I was saying that I've recognized that later in life that sometimes reassurance or words of affirmation are important to me. But to have if I had a partner who was not good at communicating and didn't feel like it was important to talk about those things and didn't really was like, I don't really need to do, like, I don't do that. Like, I don't talk about this. That's not how I show you how I love you, like this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm showing you how I love you in other ways, which yes, that can exist. I see that you love me, but I'm telling you that I need this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to me. And I'm telling you that I need this. This is something that I need. I don't doubt that you don't love me, but I do need this from you. It, like, in those things, kind of like it's a friction because you want them to give, you kind of need them to give it because it's important to you, but they just can't, like, that's not a thing for them.
That's that monogamy.
Yeah. So I knew Marcus gonna say that. There's two ways about this. One is like, it was not even. I'm also non-monogamous, so I understand what Marcus is saying. Is like you don't have to get everything you need. Like, first thing is, don't take away the fact that you need it. You don't have to put any cosign, bold, italicized. You need it. It's light. You need it, right? Mm-hmm. So when you're with anyone, whether it's your romantic partner or your friends, right? Like, you tell them what you need and you understand how they care about you and how they refer to that need. So like, I may not be an affirmations person, right? But if my partner says that that's what they need, I'll think about it more. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to get it right, because I'm not going to be performative. But I'm like, oh, this person likes red shirts or whatever the thing is. I'll throw that on top. They want affirmation. So when I think about it, I make sure to say, babe, you did great today. Because if I'm giving them what they want, they're going to like stretch to give me what I want.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like sex too. Like, it's in the same vein of like, it's not about you. Like, if you make it about them, like it changes the experience. It's not about like being one way. But if someone isn't willing, then it's like, all right, well then you may not be my people. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or you get it from somebody else.
I was actually going to ask this question. So I feel like my thought patterns are similar to that, what you're talking about, because I've had people that want my attention to be exclusive to them in the past. Like, you need to treat me this way and then treat everybody else different. And for some reason, my brain doesn't click that way. It doesn't say, okay, like, why would I just treat you one way but I'm treating everybody else another way, like because it's just making me a different person when I'm with you,
But
and I don't want to be a different person.
Isn't that inherent of romantic centered monogamous relationships?
Yeah.
It could be, but I think it was more or less. You actually probably 100% right. That's why I'm asking y'all now because I feel like it was more or less like, well, you don't treat me the same way you treat your friends, or it's the opposite of you treat your friend, you treat me and your friends. I don't know. It was like, don't treat me like that. Don't treat me like I'm your friend. Treat me like I'm like this, and I'm like, okay. Like, and it's almost like I don't know how to do it 100%. Like I'll try to figure it out, but then I feel myself being a whole different person, and it starts chipping away at me differently. Like it makes me start turning into something else that I don't really know if I want to be that or I do want. I don't know. I know it gets confusing for me.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people desire that sort of exclusivity and hierarchy in relationship structures. And that's why I asked, those properties are inherent of those types of relationship structures. I don't think that person was expressing anything that most other people would find to be unreasonable within that relationship structure. So is it more of the demand itself or the specifics of what was being asked of you?
Yeah. I don't at that time, it probably was that. I mean, I don't feel that now. I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
that at that point, I can feel like it just was something that was separating me from being who I naturally am. Like I treat everybody the same. Like I can love this person and do everything the same way that I would do hanging out with you, Marcus. Like hanging out with and I don't mean like that. I mean like just going out to places and chilling and probably playing a game or doing something along those lines. Like I can do that same stuff
Yeah.
with a person in my life, but I felt as though it was separating me from that. Like, oh no, I don't want to.
Because they
I
were
don't wanna do all
asking for
this, I don't wanna do all
something.
that.
They were asking for something different that made them feel
Exclusive,
more
yeah,
special. Yeah.
yeah,
So I'm going to come back to the question that No Bundles NYC
yeah. I haven't
asked
started.
in: what is the reasonable amount of time for somebody to learn your love language? And I think that kind of gets to the idea that I want people to begin to think about more and sort of steer away from, because you said your love language, and that's singular, where it's good to recognize that most people have overlaps of many, if not all. And we should be really looking more at those love languages being expressed upon all the relationships that we have with people and not just centered on our romantic relationships, because you're going to find that you're turning a blind eye to a lot of love that's being aimed in your direction. But as far as like a quantifiable time that's dependent on on different people, it's a good litmus test to be able to express those things and see how people respond to it. You're gonna learn very quickly, what somebody may think about you, or the way in which they communicate back to you on those things. So I wouldn't move with this expectation like, hey, like it's been a month or it's been a week or it's been like 2 months and stuff like that, especially if you haven't expressed anything. So just express it and see how they respond to it.
Yeah. I was going to say, so like a variation of, I was going to say, I don't think we can put a time limit on like how long it will take for, or how long it should take for a person to figure those things out, because sometimes it might just need to be communicated. I am a firm believer of like in situations like this, or even like, let's say for instance, like when I was going live, people would be like, oh, what kind of things do you like? I hate if we don't know each other and we've never like been out and you're just trying to get to know me. I am not about to divulge all the things that make me tick for you to become the person that I want you to become.
Right.
I think that once we get into the inner workings of whatever our relationship is supposed to be, then maybe that's something that we can start communicating, or maybe you can start realizing about me, or I can communicate to you. But what I'm not about to do is wear like a shirt that says I like hugs. Like I like warm hugs.
Right. And people begin to build these itemized lists of
Yeah.
things that they check off, like, oh, I did this. And, the relationship begins to be transactional. There's a lot of things
There's
that
a
you can.
balance, though. There's a balance to that, though.
In what way?
I'm just saying there's a balance to, like, you meet someone in the streets or your first date or the first couple of dates. There's a balance to, even when someone said, what's a reasonable amount of time for someone to learn your love language? I'm like, do you know your love language? Like, for them to learn it, like, do you know it? And if you know it, why do people have to go through this, like, trial and error when you've known yourself for 40 years or whatever you are? Why wouldn't you just give them the cliff notes? Like, they don't have to, I'm not saying give them the whole text, but I'm saying give them a couple of cliff notes, get some high level. Like, if you like hugs, I'm gonna need you to tell me that, because
I'm just not giving out the cliff notes beforehand. Like, before I know who you are, like, I'm not giving, because
but that's a part of the walk, though. Like, that's a part of the conversation.
Sometimes you can give people this. Here's what I said. Like, you can give people this book and lay to what you want, and they can either unconsciously or subconsciously become. Oh, fuck me. They can subconsciously become the person that you want them to be because they want to make you happy, or two, they could use those tools that you gave them to get closer to you and have no intention of like carrying that out. They're just trying to get close because you gave them the play-by-play book. You know what I mean? I do think, though, that when you are interested in someone, it is okay to say, this is something that I need. Like, this is important to me. I like this. This is something that I need. But I do not I hate people ask me, like, what are you looking for in a, like, what kind of guys are you looking for? Because I don't want you becoming the guy that I'm looking for. I want you to already be that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Already be that. Yeah. Step up and be that. Hold on. I got a question. Before you go, Mark. I do want to know something. Is scissoring a part of the love language chart? Like,
Jesus.
No. Yes. Come on, basically.
I wasn't ready.
That's a part of the genital jamboree.
Hey, come on, hey. Can I come down where you at?
Down. It's not
Come on.
Oh, wait.
Other way. There we go. Yes. He scissored me.
That was
That's
Bussy.
not how that works. That's not how that works.
Scissor jamboree. All right, go ahead, Mark.
I don't know what was he talking about?
I don't even know no more.
Nigga, you broke off into scissoring. I don't know where we at.
I think there's a balance between like what we tell people versus what they learn along the way. And then like your basic mentions, like you don't want to get people to cliff notes and then they evolve into that person.
Look at that. Y'all done spoke the same language. Look at that shit. Hey,
those people aren't good people. Like, those aren't your people, and you'll figure that out like real quick if they are just changing, like, how don't you see... and shape-shifting. Like, you can see the shallowness in people, like you just do in their conversation. They can't hold it up, but eventually, if they aren't a con artist and they either intentionally or not intentionally, your relationship will end. Like, your journey will end.
Right.
Like, it makes no sense to focus so much on it when it's going to happen anyway.
I will say that some people can see it, but I know that there are plenty of women or men that do not. Because, I think sometimes, I will say as women, we have this tendency to be like, oh, he didn't do this for me. He was this and he was this. And we do this woe is me thing, like when we go through like a breakup, right? And we talk about all the things that the person did wrong. And there can be someone who is just like laying in the wait. And they're like, oh, well, he didn't do that, that, and that. I'm about to do this, this, and this because I'm trying to be like in his position. And he may not that he doesn't have necessarily the best intentions, but he's just trying to get in there. He's trying to get in the door. And I think because we're craving it and we want that attention, sometimes for some women, we can overlook all the signs that say, maybe he's not being genuine because we're so busy focusing on the fact that he's supplying us with all the things that we thought we were missing from our last relationship or that we thought that we needed. And so they're giving us this thing that we said that we wanted. So maybe there's a chance, and it's not impossible, there's a chance for people to overlook what might be right in front of our face, which they're not really this person. They're just doing what you want them to do to make you happy. It happens all the time. Like women can be like, oh, he was all of these things in the beginning. Like he did all this stuff, and then they end up being a completely different person.
See, this is why I like solidarity as a love language. It's something that like
Added to the list is what you saying? It should be added.
well, it is on the list. It's actually number 14 on the more updated list.
Okay.
But like it be stuff like, oh, you gonna do this for me? What are your views on Palestine right now? Like it be just like there's so
You need
many
that
things
deeper
that you
dive.
could talk about and ask a person that gets into the peripherals of how they examine and view the world. Like, and if like you aren't in solidarity on things that are like socio-political, I'm not fucking with you beyond certain points. Like it's just
But see,
how it
that
is for me. I don't care
that
what you can do for me.
you, that's you, but that is not how everyone works.
I
Some
know.
people view relationships in a very shallow way, or everything is very surface level.
Mhm.
And so that digging deeper is not a thing that everybody does. Like a lot of people are not trying to dig deeper. They do not.
You ever try to dive
But if
deeper?
you can't dig deeper, that's another reason I'm not fucking with you.
No. I'm in agreement
stay
with
if
that
you
part
match.
because it do make you stay away for a little bit because you start realizing up here it ain't the same as it for them because they start getting offended that you start diving deeper with them. Like, hey, well, why aren't you thinking this? You ever think of that? And they be like, huh?
But also,
man, you doing too much. You
don't
doing
even know how to
how am
dive
I doing too much?
Listen, if I'm just like, what do you think about trans identity and the validity of it? And you just start going on some boosie bullshit. Why am I continuing this conversation? We're done. We're done. That's it.
But here's the problem. Those same people are going to find somebody else who is like-minded and don't know anything about diving deep. And they just, it's going to be the same surf. Like there are people who match in those same energies.
Yes.
But not one of them are trying to dive deep. They just like, this whatever. You know
So
what I mean?
You find your people
cold.
though.
Mhm.
You find
Sorry,
your
man,
people.
it's-
Like everyone finds their people. Like when in dating, like all the time, all the conversations don't go well because I am a deeper person. So I'm going to ask some deeper questions. And I think that sometimes people get annoyed by that. They're like, oh, this is too much. Well, then I'm not your chick then.
That's
I'm not
it,
the girl
right.
for you.
Yep.
We're going to end this real.
Yep, the litmus test is.
Yeah. And even if you come in and do all the things I told you my ex didn't do, like my ex didn't hug me, my ex didn't this, and you come in and do all those things, I can still hear all the other things you're not doing. Like I want to know there's too many layers of things to understand about a person for it to be like a black and white, true false test. Like it's all the things, your energy, it's how do they talk to you? How do they get mad? Like it depends on what's important to you. Like, are you a misogynist? Are you homophobic? And I say that early and they can like avoid it, but you can hear it underneath everything. So I feel like I can give you a test, but I'm also still listening. Like I still think there's room for learning, but there's also room for like doing your own test. You said those girls, like the people that align, let them have themselves. Like if they're light and dumb, let them have themselves. Like I'm good with them. Get them out our pool. Give me the people with depth and conversation and empathy and compassion and want to evolve and be spiritual. Like take the people up the top. I'll take the bottom people. That's all.
You're gonna take the bottom.
I try. Are you talking about the list that Marcus is talking about?
You have to purchase it. It's
copyright.
As soon as the author as soon as it went on sale, I purchased it. And I got a PDF of it.
Hey, get a PDF. Go ahead and send it out. Make some money real quick.
I'm not. This is for
I'm
the author, not me.
I'm playing. Just start selling that shit. Like, hey, you want access? I got you. $5. I know the ancient twist, so I'm just fucking with you. All right. I know we've been kind of here for a minute, but I feel like we've hit everything. I do want to ask you this. Damn, you really hit all these questions. Like, I don't even know if I want to ask this. Okay, is love languages overrated?
Overrated as a concept.
Just overrated
Mm.
overall.
I
Like,
don't
Maybe
think
and what I mean is like
five
overrated.
basics.
I think the basic languages that people talk about all the time, do you think is a little overrated? Like,
the
especially how
the
people.
5 love languages absolutely overrated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think that I don't think love languages as an ideology isn't overrated. I think it's
No.
a decent framework to begin to move and question things from, but I don't think it's something that you need to rigidly stick to.
Mm.
Yeah.
I
But
think
that's the
it's
part.
important-
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I think it's important to know what is important to you.
Yeah.
And I think that if you are with a partner or multiple partners, it is important, if you care about them, to know what is important to them. And it doesn't have to fit within like these five little tabs, but I do think that part of understanding how we go forth in relationships and like how we respond to certain situations in relationships is a lot about knowing what's important to us, like knowing what are the things that are making us tick. Like, what are the things that, like, what are the things that have made us, like, where we feel like we're not loved in past relationships, or we're not getting certain things, or we're not giving certain things, or our partner might not be satisfied. Like, in whatever capacity it is, it's important to know those things about yourself, so that when you enter the next relationship, whatever that might be, into whatever capacity, you know what's important. You know what you will take, you know what you won't take, you know what you need versus what you don't need. Like, those things are really important to know. And I think we all
And
just
your boundaries. Yeah.
and boundaries, right? We just think about it like within these little 5 constructs, but it's more so just about knowing what's important to you and what you need
Mhm.
from whoever, what's important.
Right. The reason why I'd asked that question, because it was based off of just the basic things. Because every time, and it's like when people talk about love languages, it's always those basic things. It's like, well, you don't give me enough physical touch, or you don't give me enough of this, or you don't give me enough of that. And it's like, or it's somebody always talking about these things, always talking about the same exact ones. And oh, I'm words of affirmation. Oh, I'm gift giving, or I'm receiving, or whatever the case is. I need somebody to give me things, or whatever the case is. Like, I feel like that's all people really base themselves in, and they live their lives off it the same way people live their lives off of signs. Like, everybody use
Oh, you mean
signs
basing
for
your personality,
everything.
basing your
Yeah.
personality off of the ideology.
Yeah, like all of it is just, oh, well, I'm a Leo, so I do this, I do that, and that's what Leos do. No, that's not what
Yeah, but y'all
everybody do.
Leos
Like,
be like,
that's what I'm saying. It's like it's always the same thing. Like, just you live your life based off of something else, and you're not speaking for you. You're speaking for what the sign tells you are. So you try to be. It's almost like you become the sign, and it's like, is that really who you are, or did you just adopt that? And now, like I have friends, like, not necessarily male Tauruses, but some of the women Tauruses push that on you. Oh, us Tauruses, we do this, and I'm just like, what does it have to do with who you are? That's you.
But I think that so much of our existence is ideas via socialization. The way that you view even your gender identity is a socialization, and it would not exist without it. And I think that could be said about everything that we the labels we put upon ourselves, and the identities that we all adopt are all the product of socialization. So I wouldn't so quick to discount that, when so much of what makes us human is a property of that.
I think that though all of this comes back to whether it's the horoscope or like the love languages. It's all about knowing yourself. I think that people don't
That's the
really
point. Yeah, just gotta know
come to
yourself.
words easily. So those things may not be them. Like, you can put any words on the, like, someone just posted like the 18 or 19. Yeah, right. So it just gives us words
put
to
it in
use
yet.
that says like what I identify with. So the more you find words, whether in your horoscope or in your whatever your stuff is, it allows you to communicate better to your partner. It doesn't mean that it's like, I'm an Aries. Like, I know there's certain things I identify with, and I'm like, oh, that feels like me. but
Yeah.
it's more important that I can use those things to tell someone else this is who I am.
Exactly.
Much, yeah, it's not about the group; it's about the
Right.
But
individual.
well, I guess what I mean by it is where we like, okay, so you use some of it to identify certain things, but when people literally use your sign or use things to either put you down as a human, to literally tell you this is who you are, and it's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. No, you're this way because you are this, and I'm
I
like,
think every part of identity
the
and
fuck,
and,
like,
and and ideas can be weaponized. Even the 5 love
mhm.
languages were weaponized.
Yeah.
There
And
are
that's my point behind it. Yeah.
in the original author Dr. Chapman, he talks
Rachel, I'm gonna
about
post it in a second.
he
Rachel.
talks about instances where he's kind of trying to counsel a marriage, and he's literally using the 5 love languages as an abusive tactic against someone in their relationship.
Mhm.
So all ideas
Yeah.
can be weaponized.
100%. Yeah. I think it's funny because, you know, kind of bouncing off like with what Madison says, like, I think we all live in, like, we all have these little, we try to identify with things to find a way to like describe ourselves, or to like to
Mhm.
figure out a way to like figure out who we are, but really trying to like pinpoint what our actual individual thing is sometimes harder, because we have all these things, all these maps, are these guidelines to kind of tell us how we fit into. And lately I've just really been trying to like focus on, at least for myself, really figuring out what the thing is that really triggers me, as opposed to like trying to put myself into a category.
Mhm.
I've been trying to figure out like what really triggers me. And like, it's so funny because I literally just had this conversation with a friend maybe 2 days ago. And it was funny because he said to me, wait, you just figured this out about yourself? Because I figured, like, I thought maybe that was something you knew. But like, I recognize that a lot of the things that surround the way that I like to receive love, and the way that I like to show love, and the way I react to certain things have a lot to do with my issues with abandonment, and like feeling like people are just gonna just walk away. That has a lot to do with my need for reassurance. That has a lot to do with my need for communication. It has so much to do with that. Like, but what's also crazy about it to me is that I literally just like, it almost was like an epiphany. Like I had a dream and I was like, wait a minute, this is what all these things are. Like, I have often said that a lot of times my anxiety is triggered by dreams and like in my sleep. And it was just me going over my previous, like the things that have bugged me in those dreams. And in every scenario, it's this idea of someone making me feel invalidated, someone making me feel abandoned, and the fury that came behind that. And then realizing that I carry that in so many different situations. Like, I tend to deal with this sense of everybody's walking away, like at all times. And even if it's not like in the forefront and I'm like automatically like saying it, it's in the back of my head. And so I think that's why I focus so much on words of affirmation and that reassurance that I need, and communication, because they all kind of tailor around this specific issue that I personally have, and the style in which I deal with it, which is a very anxious style of dealing with it. Like how I deal with my issues with abandonment. But just figuring out that one thing, like I feel like it's so important for us to figure out that one piece of us, and like really like evaluating ourselves, as opposed to trying to just fit into like this cookie cutter box that we get. Like we get these labels to help describe ourselves,
Right?
But we really have to figure out what is the thing for us. And like, where is it coming from? Like, what is that trigger? What is that thing for us that led us to be this person? Why are my love languages? Like, why do I need to like receive love in a way where I need communication and I need this reassurance from my partner? Why is that so important? Why, if I don't get a certain thing from my partner, do I automatically feel like, you know, I feel panicky because I'm not getting this from them? Where is that coming from? Understanding all those things are so much more important than just focusing on putting yourself within one of those categories. Figuring out what the root of it is and like where that comes from is probably what's more important, you know. And then all that other stuff is just like a way to describe yourself, but really just knowing who you are and like what those things are, like what's your real trigger.
Have you ever read up on attachment styles?
Somewhat, not a lot, but I have read, like, I've read a few things on attachment styles. I think that's kind of what made me sort of dig deeper into like what that thing was for me, because I felt like I think I felt it more recently. I have been in a great relationship. We are currently at a place where we're taking some time. It's nothing bad happened. There's no bad blood. We're taking some time, but I think in the maturity of this and the type of relationship that I've had, and it's just been a very mature relationship, I think it's kind of made me be very introspective of like certain things, and it made me evaluate how I was responding to certain things and why I was responding to certain things in a certain way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're describing the anxious attachment style.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
I completely identify with you with that. I absolutely have it. I do the exact same things. I know exactly. I feel it in my body so much. I can see, like, I know when my people pleasing is the same, right? I look at people's patterns. So if you don't call me the same, if your tone is different, but I really think that there's an evolution of curiosity about yourself. So if we went back to like, hey, when you originally start thinking and kind of like being curious about yourself, you do the light stuff, which is like horoscopes and like the 5 love languages, right? But when you grow up and you say, okay, that's not enough for me anymore, there's several levels, but one of them is going to be like, what are your shadows? What are your triggers? What is your trauma? Like, what's your part in everything that's gone wrong in your life? Like, the real truth and understanding where it comes from. Like, does your inner child get loved and you need to go back and love them? Like, whatever that thing is will help you connect better with the next person, but you got to do the work for yourself. And how deep you go it tells you how deep your experience is. And for you, it sounds like, experiences like changes in relationship, transition, deaths, things like that make you super more focused on yourself, like on how important it is for you to heal those things while you have time, and for you to focus really hard on them, because you don't have to hurt your own feelings all the time. You don't have to like keep attaching to people that make you anxious. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not healthy. The more you know about yourself, the more you learn how to choose what's important. Like, one of the questions I ask always is, how do you get angry? Like, what you look like? Because that is a real big thing for me. You cannot yell at me. But there are people that have culture differences that are just talking. Like, people from up north or wherever, people just talk loud. And I have to manage my own trigger, right? Because I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Are you yelling at me, or am I perceiving you yelling at me?
Absolutely.
Like, what's true? Like, but my body reacts as if they're yelling. So the problem is it's mine. Yeah. But, I try to connect.
I think that was the thing. Like, it was recognizing that what my partner was asking for me felt like a personal attack. It wasn't. Like, he was not trying to personally attack me, but he handles things very differently. He has a different way of handling stressors than I do. And in my mind at the moment, I was like, why am I responding to like the way that he's handling this in this way? Like, why am I not, like, I'm responding to this in a really, like, it's almost like it's a super pushy way, almost like I'm reaching and I'm digging for things and I'm trying, and it really made me try to just like step back and think about, what are my own personal triggers? Like, this might not even be a thing for him that he's even trying to do, but it's triggering me in a way that feels unhealthy, and I know it's coming from my side. Like, I know it's coming from over here. So now I need to like figure out, like,
you just cleared half the battle.
Right. So I really need to look at, like, I got to look at this. I got to look at me as opposed to like the other stuff. And I have to figure out like how I navigate through that, and what are the reasons why, and why am I responding this way? And like, where is this coming from? And where is the root of it coming from? And why do I feel like this, like, in certain situations? And this is not the first time that I felt like this. Is the first time that I've reacted like this. So where is it coming from for me?
But still keep your thumb on people.
Oh, absolutely. Which is,
don't be completely dismissive of other people's behaviors.
No, you're right. That's the balance. I think, which is the reason why I think I've chose to sort of navigate the ways that the ways certain things have happened Like I said, there's no bad blood or anything, but it's me being conscious of me, but also finding a way to still respect what I need. You know what I mean? Respect what I need, but also understanding what my triggers are. Like figuring out myself, but also respecting the things that I need for myself as well. You know,
It could be not a trigger that like a traumatic response of keeping you safe. It could be your need to control. Like it could just be, that's why you got to look under it. Like, is it something that you have to heal, or is it like your ego getting in the way?
Yeah.
Like, do you have like insecurities about like, it could be anything, you know, about your partner, like, you know, or yourself. Like, you got to look under. Your body will react. You got to question it. I think the first step is like realizing your body is reacting, and then look underneath to say why it is. And then you don't have to realize, you don't have to figure it all out. I mean, some of it really does require therapy, but try to figure out, like, is it real?
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a nice little, you know.
Mike, what you doing?
Sending out messages for the show.
You've been in your phone like 3-4 minutes.
If you go on Instagram and YouTube,
you just like,
why you be calling Mike out like that?
I don't care. I don't care.
We're advertising.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. While y'all talking, I'm just making clips and sharing it on YouTube and putting it out. So I'm trying to live in the moments now. Yeah, gotta live in the moments. But listen, at the end of the day, I'm of service to everybody else. It's not about me. So
acts of service.
You a service?
What if we don't want acts of service?
You be bottoming?
What if we don't want service, Mike?
Sure.
What if we want gifts?
We want quality.
You a power bottom?
Time, Mike.
Quality time.
What? What is that?
Power bottom?
I've never heard of that. Yeah, I've never heard of it. Why are you laughing?
Don't follow Mark down that. Don't follow Mark down that road.
Yeah. Let's not.
Mark, that's a whole different show.
Unless you want this podcast to
no,
gay.
I don't care. No, it is about me, but it's about everybody else. I'm gonna service to everybody else, and it's not about me. But anyway, continue. You got the questions. You loaded over there with the questions.
I've talked about you. Wait, you haven't asked your questions, have you?
I did. Y'all, this whole segment was on what I just asked.
No,
it just peered off to the other way. That's all. That's what happens with all our conversations.
Oh, okay. So I think my next question was, and I think
he said I'm following down a yellow brick.
Come on, sorry.
Listen.
I think we kind of briefly touched on it, but like, how important do you guys think it is that your person always meets your expectations?
You just messed up. Go ahead.
Yeah, you did the whole thing. I think always killed it.
Yeah,
no, that's why I asked. Like, is it a thing where they have to always meet it?
Absolutely not. I don't care what it is. I don't hold anybody to an expectation of always. I don't care. Well, no, that's not true. There are some things that as far as like being a decent human, but those are things that are kind of like universally expected of people.
Yeah.
But as far as like beyond the decency and being a human, no, there's nothing. Not always. We are undeniably fluid creatures, and over your relationship with a person, as much as people don't like to, but you know, people change all the time. You might find yourself in a relationship with 15 different people over 15 different years, and they all have this. It's all the same person.
Yeah.
But it's just how we grow and how we evolve. And you are not going to be the same person from beginning to end. It's just
no.
It's just how things are.
And you don't want to be.
Yeah. No. Why would you? Yep. I always say, if I feel like there's a plateau somewhere, I gotta go back to the drawing board on something.
Listen,
like
I was married, and in my marriage and then my divorce, my ex-husband said, like, you changed. I'm like, I know you didn't. Like, that's a problem.
Yeah.
We have very, very different views but I do also understand. He's like, well, I married this particular person. Yes, you did. I was that person.
Shit for life.
Listen, Linda, I didn't, but it's not a conversation that you'd even think to have. That hey, by the way, I may change. I'm gonna and if you know me personally, I
That's
change
what
a
I'm
lot.
talking. Yo, I bang
Like
with Tori. Hold
I
up.
evolve a lot. So
Not Tori
yeah.
said her wig chooses her.
Listen, ho, yes, listen, your glasses
Yup.
changing, everything can change.
Yup.
Mhm.
Don't hold on to nothing.
Listen,
And that's
that's
what
what's
something I
crazy.
seek in my partners. Like you gotta be someone that's okay with change. And
Yeah.
if you're not, you need to know that early.
Change is the
That's
only
what's-
thing that stays the same.
That's the crazy thing about like people. I have exes who, I mean, exes of like years who will probably be like, I still love you. No, you first of all, you don't even
You
know
don't
me.
even know me.
You don't
Yup.
know me.
You don't even know me.
You do not
He still tell
know.
me he loved me too. I'd be like, babe, you don't even know me
You
anymore.
don't know who I am. You probably don't even love this chick I am right now. This is not the same girl you met back in 2014. I am not the same girl.
You don't even know my
Like,
pronouns.
What's
You
happening?
don't even like me. If you knew me, you
You
wouldn't
don't
even
even
like
know
me.
my
Like,
pronoun.
Right. If you knew me now, you probably wouldn't like me
That
because
was a
I'm
good
not
one.
about to give you that same energy that I gave you when we were together. You are not getting that
And
same.
Houston, you may not even be able to handle me right now.
Thank you.
And I'm like, you be trying, like, yeah. I'm like,
When
you
I
be trying
really-
to creep back in, and it's not even, you can't even ride this ride anymore.
And I think I mentioned, did I mention it the
Experiences
last
is
time or
everything.
the time before that? Me still having a friend from high school who still equates me to the girl I was in high school. And I'm like,
Oh, please.
That should be
Listen.
weird.
That's mad weird.
Mm,
That
that's
Uncle
weird.
Rico, I freaking peaked in high school. We could have won
Yeah.
state. Man, out of here.
when I
Nah, I
tell
feel
you,
the same as
but
that
like
way.
I said, it's because when he talks about
Yes,
you know, the
evolution is
highlight of
inevitable.
himself, it very much relates to who he was back then. And so because those are the highlights of his moments in life,
Yeah.
he still reverts that person. And I am nowhere near that same person. But because
It's like a football star.
yeah, like because
Oh.
because for him that was like that's what he talks about, like back in the day, like back when we was in high school. Like I don't want to talk about that time. I want to talk about what's happening right now, because what's happening right now is who you are currently, and we are not the same people that we were back then.
Or even the last 5 years.
Shit, even the last 2 or 1.
But he's talking about go back 20 years. Like,
that's
right.
crazy.
Five.
Like, yo, people be stuck. And like I just can't imagine the amount of self misery that you have to be enduring to be so stuck so long ago throughout life that nothing is significant enough to override that or to improve. You're still and to think that you're still the same person. What?
Yeah.
That shit is a very
that
sad road.
blows my mind.
But some people peak in high school though. Like, think about it.
Yeah.
When you're in school, like you didn't have any responsibilities for real, right? And all your own job was to be popular. And you were fun, and you're the king.
That's why
right?
I love the fact that I wasn't a part of that group. Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Think about all the people. Like, I don't know how big your high school is, 300 people, whatever. And you have a village,
2,000.
like all the things. Damn, I'm from South Carolina. But like you have your own village. You are leading this whole like community, and then you come out and you're nobody.
Yeah.
And so like you come out and now you have to find your way, and it's not 300. I love how many people. It's like a couple barely, and those people disappoint you. So like high school was fun, but you do have to move on. But I don't know that people. I don't think people have goals after that. Like they just like let's just make it. You know, it's not ever going to be as shiny with sprinkles and candy as it is in high school. You're getting all the. No, I'm not going to say all the stuff, but yes, you're living a great life. You're given all the things.
Yeah,
we ain't giving shit now. Like you barely get a gift. You know what I'm saying?
I always say, right? I was a part of the group. Now I was popular in the sense that I played basketball. Like I was on teams. I won like 2 championships with 2 different teams. So it was fun in that aspect. But as far as just regularly hanging out with people, no, never hung out with anybody that was actually in my class besides the groups that was playing the video games in the lunchroom or wrestling in the hallways. Like we were those guys. Like we were WWE wrestlers in the hallway. Like, yeah, I see your face. Yeah, that was us. But he wasn't. He was a whole different candidate. He probably could have been, but we went to separate high schools. So he was a part of he was a part of the ROCT.
I didn't know who you were talking about just now.
I know.
Until Maddie said, "Yeah, okay, all right." I didn't know you were talking about me.
Yeah, no. Now we talking about you because she was mentioning things of us in high school. She said she could picture you doing the wrestling and stuff in high school, but we didn't go to the same school. So that's the stuff that we were doing, like. But coming out of that, it's funny now because we were the guys, like I was the dude listening to Pharrell Williams that was getting teased for listening to NERD because I was an NERD head and I was into that heavy. They was, you listen to that shit, you listen to this, and now everybody is either and then we watch anime, running home, watch Dragon Ball Z, and all this other stuff, and now all of a sudden all these people show up in there. Oh man, I was always a Dragon Ball Z person, and I look at them like, you probably was, but because you were in school, you didn't want everybody else to know that, so you hid that fact.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to deal with the fact that you weren't this way, so I can tell you peaked in school because I got a guy right now that I know he used to play ball in school, he used to shit, knew everybody, all this other stuff. Now when I see him now, it's like he still act like he still sell things like as if this is 2004, 2005, and I'm like, bro, what the is the weirdest thing. Like he show his, how back in the day you would take a picture of your outfit that you used to wear. He does that. I'm like, yo, you used to do that a long time ago. I don't take no picture of my outfit now. Like, but wait, what happened to her?
She was saying her was T-squared.
What happened to Tori?
What?
I want to know why you was in it. Or are you just like
you want to laugh so
basic?
Wait, what happened? What did you say?
I didn't say anything.
She ain't have to say anything. She ain't have to say anything. You wasn't paying attention to her. That's all.
No. What did Basic say?
She didn't say
what
anything.
Her face say? What did her face say?
Her face said was, God damn. Like, that's what her face said.
Is it the T-squared drink?
It was T-squared. T-squared did do it for me.
If you want to come spend his last 20-something minutes coming up, and you want to talk about it, I'll send you the link.
Here's the crazy part. I think like what's especially interesting about my relationship with this particular friend is that he knows that our particular relationship was rooted in a lot of personal trauma for me. He knows this. So when he relates me to that person that I was in high school, it is an automatic like personal dig, and it makes me furious because the fact that you are still relating me to a girl who went through some serious shit, and particularly with you, we have an issue, right? He'll be like, oh, but you still care about me. I cared about you in high school. You are my friend now. Those are two totally, you have got to stop living in this world, in this bubble that we used to live in when we were in high school.
That's crazy.
The bubble is crazy and sad.
Dog, I ain't know you since Matrix dropped. Why?
Damn.
The thing is that he is my friend, but he makes it sometimes very hard to be a friend because we can't, the fact that you keep mentioning things and bringing things, it feels very much like a personal dig to me.
Yo, this is all the time.
When you bring up the high school stuff, and like that's like it's a very personal, like it almost feels like you're insulting me when you're still putting me in that same level that you used to put me in when it was back then. Don't do that. Like, we're not the same people. And also, like, as for as many times as I have had to say to him, this is not what this right here, what's happening right now, my friendship with you is not what that was. I'm trying to be your friend, but you are crossing a boundary.
Better than
why do you want to be their friend?
Deuces so hard.
Yeah. I was trying to let you
Um,
speak, but I'm like, why do you want? Before we were talking about love languages, right? And we talked
yeah.
about extending past romantic and platonic. This is one of those
Mhm.
areas where, like, this doesn't feel loving to me. And I would have one good, strong, firm, emotional conversation and say, this is where you put me every time you say this to me. And I
Yeah.
need you to hear, to feel this energy. So every time you bring it back, and if you keep bringing it back to me as traumatically as you're saying it was, or
Yeah.
then I cannot fuck with you.
Our last phone conversation sounded very much like that. I think that's why we have not spoken since our last conversation, because it wasn't the first time that we have had that conversation. It wasn't the first time that we had it. So on this last, the most recent conversation that we had, it was coming from, I mean, it came from a place of anger before we had that conversation, but it was really frustrating because my thing to him was that I'm really trying to be a friend to you because I know you need one right now. You're dealing with some stuff and I know you need one. And I'm really trying my best to be a friend to you, but you are really pushing it because I have asked you before to not say certain things. I have told you that this is not what we are. I have told you that, like, I am not that same person. Like I've said these things on multiple occasions. And then for a minute, like, he was acting like, oh, so what you're saying is that this was no, why are you acting aloof? Like, why are you acting like we haven't had this conversation before? And then we had to draw clear boundaries. So then it was, I can't talk to you. We're going to cut off the amount of communication that we have because I can't keep having this same conversation with you. It feels very disrespectful. Like the fact that I have to say this same thing to you over and over again when I'm just trying to be a friend, when I know you need one, it feels super disrespectful that we have to keep having the same conversation.
Look,
over.
sometimes you just need to take your chisel and break the iceberg between y'all and just like push that thing off. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have realized that recently he has tried to reach out on several occasions. I have not responded or answered phone calls. And it's just because I'm really trying to set like a real clear boundary. Like, this is not it's not okay. Like I was trying to be a friend, but it's not cool. You know.
All right, so I want to say this real quick before we go any further. I know with some comments that's coming in that might be a little bit behind.
Mm-hmm.
And so if some of y'all comments are behind, y'all probably swiped off of it, fast forward it, or just I guess chill where you at and just catch up to it. But if you see us putting up your comment and stuff later, it's because you probably met us at a certain point. So it could be you are a little bit behind, or just gotta go on the for a little bit. So and then another thing, I get in text messages. Hey, if I am looking like this, it is nothing wrong with me, I promise. I'm literally just sitting here and I'm probably analyzing. I make a face when I sit still. So it's like I probably look like that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I probably look just like that because I get the what you good? You good? I'm okay, I promise. I am not I'm set wrong.
Tori's comment, the thing is, folks hear you, they simply don't give a fuck. I completely co-sign the shit out of that. And I also feel like some people can't hear you. I think they won't, and I also think they can't. But for you, my energy is, if my energy with someone else is hard, meaning everything I say is confusing, they can't hear me, I'm repeating myself, it just is all the signs that I'm not supposed to be talking to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I am assuming that your love and your friendship is good and rich, so don't sell it. Like, he don't sound like he deserves it. That's what
the struggle for me is twofold. One, because I think about this because Bundles just asked, so when do you cut them off? One, I'm a person that in my relationships, I tend to nurture people. One, like I tend to like take care of people. And I think that's kind of the relationship that it's been a pattern with him. It's just sort of like taking care of him. Two, he's been dealing with some really hard, and when I say hard stuff, I don't mean like, I'm not saying that. He's been doing some real crazy stuff, right? And so
She said crack.
Not crack. It hasn't been crack. Not crack, but it's been some difficult stuff. And knowing that he doesn't have anybody, has
But
made
why?
me step
Why
in
doesn't
and
he have
say,
anybody?
I
Why
don't
doesn't he have
know.
anybody? So let me help you, because I'm telling you, Basic, you're me. I swear to God, the last 2 years I have been the first on everybody's list, doing all kind of wild, crazy, saving whole shit. I mean, I'm talking about friends. Like, I have done some really serious, put my life on hold things for people because they're going through some really serious shit. Please get my lesson. Please get it. That is not healthy. You're going to have to assess the people that you're saving and make sure that they are worth saving. You should not be first on that Negro's list, not knowing him that far back. Why don't you have more people? Where's your family? You got to be like 10 on the list.
Yeah.
Call me after you go through the first 10. And if you go through the
Yeah.
first 10 and you still call me, there's a problem. So there's both fold. You got to figure out why you are wanting to save, because the books would say that, like, are you doing it because no one saved you? So you're
Yeah.
giving them the thing that
I
you
can
didn't get?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
then
do for people the things that I wish people would have done for me. I step in for people the ways, and this is honestly, I know this about myself. I take care of people and I do things for people, and I do things for people that I wish someone would have done for me when I needed it. And so I always go back to, man, if I needed someone, I wish somebody would have stepped in for me. So I'm going to try to be this person for them because I wish someone would have done it for me when I needed it.
The next step is you're going to show up for them because you want them to have somebody. And then when you go through something, who do you think is going to come save you?
It's not them. I know that.
It won't be them. And it may not be like, it doesn't feed. It's not fixing your thing. It's not filling your cup.
It isn't, but I also, it is not. You're right. It is not. I know that, but I also know that is exactly the reason why I do things. I do the things for people that I wish someone would have done for me. I think, and it also ties back to my abandonment issues. I think that there's often times that I felt very lonely dealing with certain issues, and I wish someone was there for me. And so what I do is I step in for other people in the ways that I hoped that someone would have stepped in for me. And that's what my trigger point is. That's how I got like all the time. Like I end up becoming for other people what I wanted someone to not necessarily become for me, but like when I know that there's been situations that I've gone through that I have hurt and wish someone would have said, I can help you, or I can be there for you. Or I'll talk to you because you need someone to talk to. Or I will help you. You need this? Okay, I'm going to step in and help. I literally do that for people at all times. When people need, I'm like, I got you. Why? Because I know I would want somebody to be there for me if I needed it. When somebody says I'd have no one to talk to, I automatically feel that. I'm like, okay, talk to me, because I know there have been times when I needed to talk to someone and no one was there. That is the exact reason why I do it.
But Basic, I really need you to think about when you first started the show tonight. You started the show and you have no spoons. I say spoons, if you don't know the term, you can Google it. It's a therapy term that says basically everybody doesn't wake up with the same number of spoons every day. People that have disabilities, they may wake up with a lesser number. So you may not be, things that like brushing your teeth and taking a shower may be harder for you than someone that's not dealing with things. Right? So it depends on how many spoons you have. You came on the show not having any spoons. And I was like, oh my God, I want to talk to her. Because I'm like, yo, it's the winter time. Holidays are the opposite. They suck. They remind you of a lot of sad shit. About, whatever. But there's a lot of reasons why people are emotional right now, right? So it's the hunkering down time. It's the cold time. So you are supposed to kind of like introspective. But it's not an easy journey. So in that, you got to look at how many spoons you have. You're just like throwing out money out the door. You're just like showering everyone with all of this love and all this attention and all this fixing that you're doing. But the thing about giving is like diabetes. It's like the sugars, what we used to say. Like old folks say, you got sugars. Because people don't realize they're diabetic a lot of times until it's late. You know what I mean? Because you don't feel it. You don't see it. It's like so slow burning. You don't know what's happening. So the givers, you are giving from like a skeleton. Yep. That is your message for today. You're giving from nothing and no one will see it. The people that are taking from you will never check on you because that's not their role. Their role
Mhm.
is to receive, and yours is to give, but you got to give it to the people that give back to you, because
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to keep giving from this depleted place and wondering why you're sad and why you don't have the things you want, because you're
Mhm.
not investing in the thing that you need. You're
Mhm.
focused on you're focused on their house burning. Well, yours is like burning down around you, and you're like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not
that's
real.
it's classic me. I mean, I can honestly say that, like, I do it. I know that I do it all the time. I give and I don't necessarily receive back, and I also don't necessarily ask for it back.
And
You
this
know?
this kind of plays into something that I call back to in the neutrality of terms, in that selfishness is not an inherently bad thing. It is a neutral thing in how it's applied, and who is to the detriment of can make it a bad thing. But the centering of self is, so for me, it's very much paramount, in that it makes it very easy for me to give to other people. And some people will say that it does play into like hyper independence, because I am less likely to look outside myself initially when it comes to like the issues that I have. But yeah, being able to put yourself first in need before other people, or before helping other people, it's the same idea of, the plane is going down and the mask come down. You put your mask on first before you put the mask on the person next to you.
Mm-hmm.
So centering yourself is not an intentionally bad thing, and I think more people need to practice it.
Hell yeah. Snacks, when you get a chance, look at the private chat. But I do love what y'all saying. Yeah. But
I
I
think a
do
lot
feel
of
like
women are going through what Basic said. Like, I just want her to know that, like, your story is so common.
It is absolutely a gendered
So
thing
common.
in a heteronormative society, in a heteronormative patriarchal society. It is absolutely such a gendered experience.
For women, you're saying, like, it's mostly
the concept as a whole on both ends, where women are like such a common term used to describing womanhood is nurturance.
Yeah.
And so it's like this gender term that women are always giving just the idea of pouring into others and not receiving.
Yeah.
But isn't that how we were raised, though, Marcus?
Every part of identity is the product of socialization. Absolutely, that is how we are raised.
Yeah.
And it shows up in our media. It shows up in our culture. And it's not to say that that stuff is right, because most of it is not. It's very ill thought. But yeah, it's very much the product of socialization.
Yeah. And I've often said here, like, in different scenarios that we've talked about, that my role within my family is the fixer. And a lot of the things that I learned to do early was to put my emotions aside to be able to fix things within, like, whether it be my family structure or whatever. Like, I had learned at an early age that I had numbed myself to feeling the things that other people were able to feel, whether it be anger or hurt or crying about something that everybody else was totally allowed to feel. Like, everybody else was allowed to be angry, to cry, to be stressed, to be panicked. And I had to keep it together because I was fixing things. And I was fixing things like in my teenage years. Like, I was fixing things early. Like, when things were hitting, like shit was hitting the fan for people, they'd be like, hey, Raquel, can you go over and talk to this person? And I'm like, well, like, I feel a little bit panicked too. But okay, I'll get it together. I'll suck it up. I'll get it together, and I'll go and I'll do this talk. And it always like, well, you're the more thoughtful, reasonable one of us, and you can think about things, and you know how to, like, talk about stuff, and you know, like, how to look at things from all perspectives. And so
they become dependent on you
to do this. And so like literally that was the thing, like, you know how to think about stuff. And so sometimes we just need, like, things that I shouldn't have had to fix when I was a kid, I was a teenager that I shouldn't have had to fix. I was fixing. Like I was interceding and stopping and having talks with grown adults to say, this is how, like, you need to look at it. Like I was mediating it within adults like in my teenage years, and just learning how to like swallow up everything that you feel so that you can try to figure out how to fix out everything for everybody else. And it wasn't until college that I said, I don't feel anything. Like I had learned that, like I had learned how to turn off all emotion, and then it caught up with me, and then that kind of stuff manifested in anxiety, to like everything felt like almost too much. When it came to my own personal stuff, everything felt like too much to handle, because I didn't even know how to handle or process my own personal emotions, because I was so used to just shutting them off so that I could fix things for other people.
Do you still have a relationship with your family? Because
yeah.
what you're describing is extremely dangerous.
Yeah, a very good relationship with my family. Yeah, I have a yeah. It's just that's just who I've been. I think over the years, like some things have changed and some things have not. I think me dealing with anxiety and depression for a lot of my family members changed the way they chose to interact with me. They realized that some things may be too much for me to handle, right? But I think that sometimes they don't realize, they're just used to asking me for help. So sometimes maybe they just don't realize it. But I think it took me saying, I'm struggling. I really don't know where I'm going. And it was 2014 was a pivotal moment in my life where I literally had to say, something's really happening with me and I can't explain what's happening to me, but I'm struggling. Like I need help and I'm struggling. And I said, the reason why I know why I'm struggling is because I know myself to be very calculated, and I can control my emotions and I can shut things off. And I can't do that anymore. And it took that, like the literally me saying I'm struggling and I need help, for people to say, well, maybe we need to reevaluate like how much we put on her. I think my sisters are probably my biggest advocates sometimes now. Like they'll say, like, maybe that shouldn't be the first person that you run to when something's going on. Like my sister be like, y'all don't need to go to her. Like, she's telling y'all she's struggling. Like, maybe why are y'all going to her with this? Like, maybe there was even a time when I said, I need y'all to like not tell me about certain things, because I don't know if I have the bandwidth to even handle it. I take on other people's emotions and I carry it with me because I'm so used to wanting to fix it that when something goes wrong, I'm in a state of panic because I want to fix it for you. So what I'm asking, like at one point I was like, what I'm asking y'all to do is just like not, maybe some things that don't have anything to do with me, maybe just like not tell me right away. Like I can't, because I'm going to go into, I got to fix this mode. Like I'm asking, I had to like set certain boundaries. Like I need y'all to like understand that I'm struggling with certain things. So there's certain things I need you guys to not talk to me about. If it's not something that has anything that I can do anything about or has anything to do with me, like maybe not dump it on me because I can't handle this certain stuff anymore. So, even my younger sister, my younger sister, I would say she's probably my closest friend, probably my best friend. She's like one of the main people who will be like, she'll be like, what made y'all go to Raquel first? Like right now, she'll say in a heartbeat, like, what made y'all talk to her? When you know that she's going to carry this in a different way than the rest of us. Like, that she's dealing with certain stuff in a different way. So I think
just answered the question.
There's definitely been a change. There's been a shift, but for many years, that was who I was. And to some degree, which is why I say like, there's been some personal things. I think even for my mother and father, they just don't know how to take me out of that role. Like I just take care of things for them. And, they've been dealing with a lot of things personally right now, and they need me. And sometimes it just feels super overwhelming. I know that they need me. I know that they can't help what's happening right now, but it just feels like when I'm dealing with it, and I don't even know how to express it to them, it feels like even a phone call, anxiety is like I feel like I can't even like breathe. Like it's up to here because I know that they need me to help. And I don't know if I have it in me to help. If that makes sense.
And if you don't extend yourself. You have to be conscious of the amount that you are able to extend yourself. A lot of people, you have to consider both willingness and ability when it comes to doing for others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do feel like when you are preparing yourself to do for others, just like that comment, you need an outlet outside of your family. You need something that can possibly, I guess, be someone that you can talk to, that you can confide in, that might be able to help you out a little bit, or just have a conversation, see if you're doing something right or wrong. Not saying this is a current thing. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, you can, for anybody who could be experiencing this, and if you are currently still experiencing this, I feel like maybe you can sometimes have an outlet towards
Yeah.
that too.
I very briefly had a therapist during COVID. And I don't even know why I really stopped, but very briefly, because I was really going through a really hard patch during COVID. I wasn't working. I was dealing with the struggle of like trying to figure out how to, like, you know, cope with being the person. I'm a single parent, have been for like the whole 19 years of my daughter's life, and just try to deal with the fact that I couldn't fix that. Like, I couldn't make everything better. I didn't know what I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know where our money was coming from. We needed to keep our place. I needed to take care of my daughter. I needed to so for a brief moment, because I needed it, because I was struggling a lot emotionally, I had a therapist for a little bit. Have I had a therapist in the past few years? No. Have I had someone I have friends that I talk to about it. One friend who's been great to talk to, but not anybody professional in the past couple of years to talk about.
My therapist tried to book me. I had to stop going to her ass.
What do you mean?
I can't go into the specifics, but I started saying some shit, and she was like, "Word." So I was like, "Oh." I learned real fast I couldn't trust her ass.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
But yeah,
I think that I think that therapy would be great for you. I've done therapy for a lot of years, not in it right now, but any kind of tools that you can use outside of your family, and your friends are cool, but you got to remember they're coming from broken places too. So their perspective is just their perspective,
and they're
right?
not a neutral party.
They're not neutral, but I feel like you're unplugging, like you're waking up to yourself, you're waking up to your journey, and you're unplugging from your family. And so when you look back at your family, it's like everyone else is still cooking turkey and everybody's still doing their own thing, and you are not. You're now awake to I can't handle this. I don't want to hold this bag. Because I'm like, why aren't they giving you the bag anyway? Why aren't they fixing their own bag? And if it's your parents, I understand as parents get older, we have to then take care of them. And if that's the situation, I understand that too. But that's a whole different. You're gonna need tribe. You need people that are going through the same things that you're going through to help give you some tools to help you get through them.
It was out his mouth.
Girl, I'm talking about when he first woke up.
He pulled it out his mouth.
Oh,
That's gross. That's
I
gross.
can't watch that scene. It's this is ugh. But yeah, no, I'm definitely I've been really trying to focus on figuring out things for myself lately. I love my family. I do. And I think that
love has nothing to do with it. I want you to hear that. I'm sorry. Love has nothing to do with it. Love has nothing to do with it. Love is the emotion, but healthy is something different.
Yeah.
And safe is something different. And safe means that they have to really know you on a level that most family don't know their people. Our family has been around us and they think they know our history, but they don't know us, who we are. If they're just learning that you're anxious, that you're depressed, that you're just getting there, they could not possibly know that. Right. You can love them, be apart from them, and still not take on their shit.
Yeah, but I think I will say this: I've tried to create clear boundaries that I think for sometimes they don't understand, but I think they respect. We have a family group chat that I don't always participate in, and it's not necessarily because I don't want to hear about my family stuff. It's just because sometimes I need a break, and they respect that. They're just like, Raquel is never in here. They'll be like, you ain't never in a group chat, but they don't bug me about it. They're just like, I'm in the group chat, but they understand that I deal with things differently. Or they'll be like, Raquel is kind of they just understand that sometimes I separate myself. And I think at first, of course, because they didn't understand it, because they don't know what it's like to live in the mind of a depressed or anxious person, of course they didn't understand it. But I think they respect it. They respect the fact that I take a step back and that I'm not always so involved as much as they are involved, that sometimes I just need a moment. or I need like to like separate, and then I'll join it every once in a while and say something. But if I'm not in the space to be there, they don't pry. They try really hard not to cry. And like I said, my sisters have been really good advocates of, like, they've really tried to help me through, because I think they understand it more. I don't think, like, sometimes it's hard, old folks, they don't really understand how anxiety and depression works. But like my sisters have been really great about really trying to be understanding of the things that I need, and that me stepping back doesn't mean that I don't love them or I don't love my family, but it just means that I just have to, like, maybe it's me just having to take a step back.
You mentioned something about, and this might be my own personal trigger, and I will own this. So this might be just me in my own boat. But you said, and because we're so much alike, you said, well, you can't handle it, right? Like, you can't handle the information because you're anxious or depressed. And in my family, I take that, I'm offended by it. I'm like, you can't tell me what I can handle just because I emote differently or I live differently. Like, give me the bag and I will determine what to do with it. That doesn't mean I'm picking it up, but don't make the decision for me because I am different than you. Like, I have a lot bigger feelings than you do.
Yeah.
Do you think that I'm gonna say this
ahead,
real
Mike.
quick. Do you think that they get to a point where they've reached a cap where they feel like once you get to a certain level of emotion that others shouldn't exist, and that's the reason why they're saying that about you? Because it's like they're here, and it's like once they hit this threshold, I don't need to show any I don't need to cry, I don't need to do this, I don't need to do that. They don't need to take it steps beyond a certain point, like where you understand yourself, you understand what what hurts you, what takes you to a certain point, and you're going to express that stuff. They don't feel as though it's necessary because they've reached a point where they don't. Maybe
They're
they
too
was taught in those
emotional.
toxic ways and
Yeah.
get, oh yeah, you don't need to be like this, you don't need to be like
You're
that. Like,
sensitive. You're too emotional.
yeah.
You cry too much.
I think that they operate. So there was a time when I think they probably did think that I was like too sensitive or I cried a lot, right? But I think that has definitely changed over the years. It's not necessarily that. I think they recognize that they operate differently, right? My sisters operate very differently, and the way they handle certain situations is very different from the way I might handle it. They do recognize that because I automatically go into that fix it mode, they know that sometimes some information that is delivered to me might make me automatically trigger into that, oh, Raquel feels responsibility, because they know that, I think, and especially for my sisters, they know that because of the role that I played in my life, that is the first thing that I go into. How am I going to fix this for you? I think I didn't take offense to, like, when my sister said it. I think I understood where she was coming from, where she was just like, why did you, if you know that how she's going to carry it, right? And that she's going to want to help you in a way that she might not even be able to help, why was the first person that you called like her? And then, like, or maybe relay the message differently, or maybe like it's the way you communicated to her. You know what I mean? I don't think they thought that maybe I shouldn't know, but just like the way, I think they were really just trying to, like, think about how much I could handle at the time, or how it would affect me, or where it would put my mental space. Because in true fact, in this particular instance, like, I automatically went into, like, it was like this, it was an overwhelming amount of, like, of empathy, and how can I fix this, and how does this feel for this person? I did, like, I honestly, that's exactly where I went to, like, how do I fix this? How do I make it better? How can, like, what can I do? How are they feeling? Like, it was heavy for me in ways that it wasn't heavy for them, because I just take other people's pain on differently.
You're empathetic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's why that's your gift. It's your gift. That's not no one else's.
Next TED Talk. Because everything is pointing to why children are such a largely failed demographic of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to just touch on one of the comments that I see there about boundaries. And, like, once you understand and know and are affirmed in your boundaries, it only leads to one outcome, and that is your safety. if you are still if you still have a relationship to people or to someone, and those either they didn't cross the boundaries or they did, and you have removed yourself from that situation, both of those things are means to your safety. And like, those are the questions that you have to ask yourself when you think about the relationships that you have with people. And like, people will sustain toxic relationships, but then also say that they put boundaries down. Well, what happened? Like, either they didn't cross them or they broke them, and then you broke your boundary.
Right.
But yeah, that's for another TED Talk.
Are you the oldest?
I'm not. I'm the middle child.
Me too. Oh man,
That middle child stuff that'd be rough.
Are you the only
I
one
was-
that like
I was
rises to the
doing-
occasion like that?
No,
Are
not
you
a
the only
bad
one
way.
that goes in to fix it?
Yes.
So they go to you because the trend is that you get it done.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think early on, my family recognized that, and I never thought this is a bad thing until it became too much. And I still don't think it's a bad thing, but like, it just became a lot. There were situations that certain situations would happen, and I was just able to see things from a different perspective that other people weren't able to look at it. Like when people were angry or when things were like really heavy, right? And I was able to have a level of empathy for both sides and to reason in a way that other people might not have been able to reason because they were so focused on how they felt, you know? And so I was the one outlier who may have thought, okay, well, maybe you should think about this way, and the other person should think about this. And now let's figure out how we fix this. How do we solve this? And if we're going to solve this, then maybe you need to do this. And I remember my mom used to be like, maybe you should just be like, she said, you should be a psychiatrist, Raquel, because of the way you think of things. Because I tended to think of things in a very sort of selfless way. And it just helped. At the time, it was a help. Like, it helped us get through some really tough stuff to have someone who could be like in between and who could say, let's think of things like this, or let's think of things like that. Or maybe we need to like be considerate of like, and also I had a way of speaking to people at a time where they might be so wrapped up in how they felt that they didn't really consider how the other person felt. And so they recognized that they could, after speaking to me, that maybe they saw things differently. And so then it became, well, Raquel's good at this. Like, she can help us see things differently. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I've got to stop talking with my thumb. I think that's the thing. Like, they would be like, she sees things differently. This is what she's good at. Like, if stuff is tough, she's good. So like I was saying, there was one time when like stuff was happening, like, Raquel, can you go talk to this person? It wasn't because, you know, they were just trying to put it on me. They just thought you'd be the best person to reason with them because you can say things in a way that we don't know how to say things, or you might be able to make them see something in a way that we don't know how to make them see it. And usually they were right. But I think it was just a lot of responsibility super early that I wasn't really emotionally equipped to handle all the time. And I don't know if they realized that for me to be able to do that, that meant shutting off the emotions that they were allowed to process. I wasn't allowed to process because I was too busy trying to make it better for everybody else. So while everybody else was processing emotions, I wasn't processing emotions. I was just fixing for other people.
Were they the ones that were not allowing you to process?
Mm-hmm. I don't even know if they realized it in that sense. I remember having a conversation with my mom probably like midway through college, and I was like, we had a really tough conversation because it came down to something really simple. It was a trip that I went on and my car broke down and no one came to help me. And we were in the same city. And I remember
that'd have been the last motherfucking time you talked to me.
Well, hold on.
What?
I remember.
Yeah, that pisses me off. Just
I remember
even hearing
saying
that.
to them when I got to the place that they were, because I had to catch a taxi to them. I remember saying to them, I don't know if y'all realize how much this hurts, because my whole family is sitting here in this town and y'all are doing something. Y'all are busy with something. Yes, I get it. But the fact that no one came to help me, I don't understand. And my mom said, well, Raquel, you've always been able to figure things out. Like we didn't think you needed us. Like you figure things out, and you never needed us to do anything for you. And I was like, I get that I can figure it out, but what makes you think that I don't want somebody to help me, or I might not need someone to help me? And it was this huge blow up because I was they had never seen me upset about something like that before. And I was like, do you realize that when I go on trips that no one checks on me? Do you realize that like when stuff like this happens, no one says, Raquel, like no one says, let me go save her. I save everybody. And no one says, let me go save her. Like y'all just think that I just know how to fix it and that I don't need anything. And I said, and this hurt me because y'all are literally 15 minutes away and no one could step away because you all just had automatically in your minds assumed I was going to be all right. What if I just needed you? What if I just wanted you there? Yeah, I figured it out. Like I figured out what to do, but I needed someone. And it's the fact that everybody's here and no one came to help me.
I'd have showed up at the next family dinner like Denzel and Training Day.
Listen,
Just
I
like,
walked
oh,
up
you
in that venue.
motherfuckers.
I walked up in that venue mad. I walked up in that venue about to, like, I was so mad I wanted to cry, but because it wasn't like a public space, I didn't. But when we got back to like the hotel that we were at, and when we got back home, it was a totally different, like I had to, like because it hurt me to a different, like they didn't understand why it hurt me so much. And I was like, you guys don't understand, like this is our pattern. No one checks on me. Like nobody checks on me. Y'all just expect me to be able to figure everything out. And that's great. That I appreciate the fact that you guys think that you have so much trust and faith in me. And you're just like, Raquel knows how to fix it. She always figures. It's like she fixes it for us. She can fix it for her. Like, oh, wow, she'll be fine. No one had thought that maybe I just needed you in the moment. Maybe I just like, it's the consideration. It's the fact that no one had said we should just be there for her. No one said it. Like no one was like, and they literally didn't even realize that I would be upset until I got there. And they were like,
but why would they though? Why would they? They've never, for how many years you've been here, you've been self-sufficient. Mm-hmm. You've done everything. And Soul Ray Me has been ringing the bell on boundaries. Like, of course they're going to run to you. They know you're going to do it. And she was like, you don't need saving when you're the hero without boundaries. Yeah. You know, I am writing that down. You got to figure out the why. Why are you still saving them when you know they're not going to save you?
It's funny because, so I don't want to say that they didn't care. I just don't think that they realized that they needed to. I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
Either way, you didn't get what you needed. However they got there.
True.
Because if I care about basic,
time,
I don't care about the why. I care about the fact that you're a kid. You're like, you're not a kid, but you're a kid. Like you need, like you have put out 1,000 memos and 1,000 care packages. You've done all these things. Mm-hmm. Your needs don't come around often. So when they do come around and your trauma is triggered, like you don't have a lot of chances to fix it. And if they miss the times to fix it, you're traumatized all over again. Yeah. And it puts into your self-worth, and they're not going to check on you. And I got to do it myself, and I got to fix everything so that they have somebody, but I don't. You gotta.
It's a hard pattern to break. I will say that. Like, I think
change out the doors. Yeah.
I think even though the dynamic has changed a lot and the way they consider certain things has definitely changed, and I will say they have definitely made an effort to change certain things. I think I still struggle to not play that role for people. I think also it has a lot to do with the fact that, you know, like I said, I'm a single parent to my child, always have been. She's 19 now, and I've done it on my own. My family's helped, you know, but there's also a lot of that, like, it feels heavy when you're the only person that's figuring shit out, you know, it feels heavy. So, you know.
Find your tribe. Be a tribe basic. And I'm talking as if I know you and I don't, but I was gonna type it and I'll not. But walk into your self-care era. It is not about saving everybody anymore. If you still want to save the folks, link up with people that are also saving the folks that help save you. Like link up with people that are more like you, that are givers, that aren't takers, that hold you accountable to your boundaries and won't push you past them. Like
and people that are interdependent.
Yes, not codependent. So like you talked about doing and being a single mom, like the whole time, and you've been taking care of your family, which sounds big, the whole time. I'm like, you're never doing it for you. It's like you got to pull all the way back. You need some really good people around you to help you understand that you don't have to be the way you are. You don't have to be save everybody. You can not and breathe. You can take care of yourself and they can be taken care of. It does not have to be you. Like you have some work to do on like the ego in a soft way, sorry. Because it's like you don't have anything left. So it's like, where are you pulling from and why? What do you think is gonna happen if you don't save them? You don't think they're gonna get saved? What happens if you don't do it? Is there any accolade? Like you want to still be the person that solves all the things? Because that's when you get the attention. Because they come to you for that, but they don't come to you to save you. So if that's the only time you get seen. And you're
can't
saying
cash
you're
in
never
that social currency.
I was thinking something similar to that, as far as like when you sitting by yourself and you sitting alone, who reaches out to you to talk to you? Who reaches out to say stuff to you that's outside of just asking you for the help? And I know you probably said, I think you said you might talk to your sisters and stuff like that sometimes. But like, do the family really reach out to you to find out how you doing? If you're good? You know, what do you need and stuff like that? It feels like if you're always the fixer and you're always the one in a position to do that, you'll get your answer just sitting alone. If you sit by, just me, when I sit alone and sit by myself, I get answers from everybody. I can tell who reaches out to me, and I can tell who actually contacts me. I can tell how many days have gone by where somebody hasn't said nothing to, or some people have never said a word to me, and I'm like,
hate for my brain to work like that.
It's like it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just that you just notice certain things. You sit by yourself and you sit by the space, and like maybe if you don't have nothing to do in that moment, like tend to work.
No, I just say that because my brain doesn't perceive time linearly when it's behind me, so it never feels like, oh, it's been a long time since somebody's like talk to me or whatever. Like my brain can't clock like that.
No, we talk all the time. My family and I talk all the time. Like I said, I will say that over the years they have made a concerted effort to try.
We're gonna do 10 minutes.
Some things they don't understand. Okay, yeah, some things they don't understand, but I do think that they do try and that there's an effort, which I can appreciate. I think now for me, it's really about me breaking the pattern for myself. Yeah, like I really do think it's a lot about me. I think they try as best they can, but I think more importantly, it's about me trying to break the pattern for myself, for me to not be, to not automatically go into that mode, to try to save people, to always give and not ask for anything back in return. Like it has a lot to do with me. I'm just reverting back to old patterns. I don't know necessarily if people are actually requesting it from me or if I'm just doing it on autopilot. If that makes sense.
That's why you gotta check yourself on your reasoning underneath it. It kind of goes back to your 5 love languages though, or 18 or whatever they are. It's like you just said that your main love language is affirmation and feeling validated and being checked on. And it came directly from your childhood and who you are in your family, what role you play. But it's also thinking about like when we're kids, a lot of unhealthy parenting is like parents put stuff on us, who we are. They put that we're feminine or masculine, or they put the stuff on us. And so they made you the fixer. You were good at it and you ran with it, right? Never did you ever go back and say, well, maybe I could be good at something else. Maybe I could be the speaker or some other thing, right? I don't have to do this because I'm good at it. I just think it's an opportunity to figure out for Basic who Basic wants to be without her family. Like if you weren't in your family, would you be the fixer? Or like if it's only you, like what role would you play? Do you want to be the fun daughter, or like figure out who you want to be? Do you want to be the peaceful daughter? Because like with people with anxiety like us, like I want a brain that doesn't like overthink. I want peace. I want people that don't make me more anxious. You know what I mean? I need somebody that like calms me down and helps and doesn't make me feel weird when I have a meltdown. You know what I mean? That's the safety. Remember we were talking earlier about safety. Like that's what I want in my relationship. And through Thanksgiving and the holidays, which is how we were talking about it. Like a lot of these feelings come up because you're going back to the place that traumatized you originally.
Mm-hmm.
And you may be changed, but your family hasn't changed. So it's a lot of like bumping up against your old self and new self.
Yeah,
But
she spelled that out to us.
Mm-hmm.
And understand that everything that we do in our interactions, this is a way to frame things. This is the framework that I work from. It is all skills. Love is a skill. Being safe is a skill that needs to be practiced. So a lot of times, people, they don't practice these things. They don't have the tools to begin with, and it ain't always on you to hand it to them or to teach them how to sharpen it and stuff. But like begin to frame everything that you do in your interactions as skills that people need to have. We treat communication like it's a skill, but we don't really do it with much else. But everything in how we interact are sharpened skills that we all have.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work.
It's hard because I'm listening to everything that y'all saying. Is like there's things about all of us that we probably do, or at least that happened in our past that we, either some of us change completely from it, or some of us still kind of have that with them. I would say
for this becoming like a basic therapy session because
no, I was about to speak on myself on that. I wasn't going to I was going to speak on myself because I know we spent about 30 minutes on that. So no, there's no problem at all. Everybody need insight. I think that what I learned about myself was how I care about people. Sometimes it can, in my personal opinion, no matter if it's coming from Marcus or anybody else, a lot of people tend to laugh at the way that I am when it comes to my expression towards people.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I've never changed that about myself. And when I get emotional about people, not you, I'm just saying people, everybody has laughed at them with like
laugh at how you express yourself to people. I don't. Well,
no. So you have to see it from my lenses. When so for instance, my mom was in the hospital. They laughed because I was the only one that cried because my mom was in the hospital when she went through her thyroid situation. So they made a joke out of it because of me being the only person that cried. But they made a joke about it. It was fun.
But it wasn't necessarily. It wasn't, the joke wasn't that you were expressing yourself. It's how you express yourself.
Yeah, but that's just that was just my thing to my mother because I know how I care about her. I know my love for my mom is a lot deeper than most people. That's my lady right there. I love my mother to death. So it's like when I see her in a hospital bed, you got to think of how that looks to me. I'm not looking at, okay, I know she's going to be okay, but I'm looking at my mother in the hospital bed. I'm not looking at just the fact that she's having a surgery on her thyroid situation and she has to have a certain thing, removed from her that's taken away, who she felt as who she was as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it hurt me to see my mom in that position. So I've dealt with that situation. Then it's also just how I care about my daughter, how I care about women in my family, how I care about when people are actually talking about women, where I actually sit there and it annoys me. And like I had someone literally say, "Yo, why you always bashing men? Why you always saying about stuff about men?" And I'm like, why wouldn't I say anything? Y'all tend to just talk shit about women all the time. Every time we get in a situation.
I think
that's like a white person. They're like, "Oh, why are you always talking about white people? Because y'all always fucking doing the shit.
Yeah,
like y'all the ones in power. Shut up.
Yeah, it's always something that's happening. You're doing this, and it's actually annoying me because y'all don't know how to take another route of what y'all talking about. Y'all taking the route of disrespect, to think all women are the same, to treat all women in the same light and same facet. It's like it's not fair because that's not the truth.
That's such a reactionary tactic, though. Like, oh my god, why are you hating on men? It's like am I, or am I just being critical and you're just fucking butthurt about it?
Mhm. Like you want me to be in the same boat as y'all. So once
Go
again,
coach.
it puts me in a space where it's like I'm not in the popular groups. Like the fact that I had to have a conversation with people about me. One of my good friends is gay. I have friends that hang in the gay community, and I was out hanging out with them and openly just like, yeah, I went down to here, and people had to question me about it. Like, oh, if you was down there, I would question who you was. I said, for
I
what?
don't give a
What do you need
fuck.
to? Yeah, what do you question me for? Because, and it's like you know how some people get in, they feel like they have to defend themselves and who they are. Like, oh, I'm this, I'm that. I wasn't going to do that with you. I wasn't going to give you that space to me to sit here and have I get women thing. Oh, I do this because then that'll put me right in the same boat as them. That'll put
I
me in
wanted to.
spaces like that. So I can't help the fact that I'm a person who really gives a fuck. That's the part. I give a fuck too much. And then to the part where it's like my friends look at me, some of them, not y'all, I'm talking about some of my friends look at me different, and then I look at them different. I don't treat everybody else the same no more, because now it's like I can't even be who I am because y'all don't know how to differentiate to two. Like if I say, hey, no, I'm not gay or anything like that, but my friends are, and I'm going to hang out with my friends. Like I don't give a fuck about what you talking about. I don't care about none of that stuff. I care about hanging out with people that I care about in my life. I mean, so
It takes a lot of courage, Mike, because of our society and from a heteronormative cishet man, for you to talk about your feelings. And when you talk about safe spaces, if a space was super not like, it is the most not safe for men, because we have taught, society has taught y'all that emotions aren't real, and you only get respect for expressing anger. When you first started talking, you were talking about your mom, and everybody doesn't have a good relationship with their mom and their family, but the people that do have a good relationship, that is always normally they're like, they will shut everything down for their parents, their mom or their dad. Like they will blow everything up without even thinking about it, even the most rational people. So to have such strong emotions about your parents and to be really worried, because when you're younger, you never worry about your parents. Then you get older, you start to worry more and more as surgeries and things happen. And then it only gets worse. Like you worry more, like you start to be their parent. I just commend you for being sensitive and being courageous enough to be sensitive and to even talk about your sensitivity, and even just standing up for yourself and not having to like justify your manhood.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it ain't easy.
I really
It ain't
appreciate
easy.
that. It's tough. It really is. It's tough when you sitting there and it's like you're now in this middle space where it's like, and it ain't even like I think about it too much, because I actually I'm like, you know what, it is what it is, and I move on from it. But guess what? I never stop. You come back to me again with the shits, and I'm going to come back to you again with the same shit too. We're going to have the same energy all across the board, and y'all going to continue. Y'all going to know when not to talk to me about certain things, because then you're going to, oh no, I ain't going to do this right here with him, because
I'm so bad at work. I'm like the fucking junkyard dog that don't got a collar on. No, it's bad. Not that it's bad. It's good, but like,
you gonna say what you gotta say?
Nah, people just don't bring up stuff around me. Like I legit got the shift regulated, and they don't even realize it. It's so funny.
Yeah. But that's it. I mean, I know we've been on this topic for a minute. We went overtime.
We did.
I mean, we're in the sixth quarter. You said you missed something. What you miss? Oh, was it something that we did? Your headphones died. Oh crap!
Oh no!
Come back, Megatron.
You heard you say that though. All right, so.
Oh, Sam Witwicky. Sam.
He said, "Sam,
get the Tesseract." He's like, "I rise, you fall." Come on, boo boo.
All right, look, I appreciate everybody for coming through. Of course, I would love for anytime I would love for you to come back, Madison. I'm glad she showed the face today. That's what's up. She bought the whole zoink.
Oh my gosh, you and that noise.
I know, right?
The doink gets me every time.
Did I say doink?
Yes.
I like it.
Oh shit!
You said it a couple of times tonight.
I want everybody real quick to meet my newest partner in crime. Look at my Arcanine Funko. Look how cute it is. That is the cutest thing ever.
His head big as shit.
I love this thing.
Look, put his tail on there.
We can tell.
Your little tiny ass tail.
This the fluffy one. And my fluffy one, and that's my Funko one. Love
That's
Arcanine.
That's what's up. All right. So I know that y'all don't typically do like the shout out stuff, but y'all can follow me in Basic on all of our platforms. Our stuff is always the same. She is that right there.
Just
on
basically
everything.
everywhere.
Yep. And I'm the same shit. I'm everywhere. Bang. Easy to find me. So, but all right. Stream is ended. We'll find out what we're gonna talk about next week. Y'all niggas be safe.